It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans training camp continues as the team hits the practice field today at 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from St. Thomas Sports Park at 10 a.m. Titans rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo joins J. Mart and Ramon at 7:40. Running back Kareem Hunt, who's seeking a contract extension, has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, but the team has declined that request. Hunt, who is in the final year of a 2-year, $12 million deal, returned to team drills on a Sunday. After nearly a 2-hour weather delay, 6-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon won the Music City Grand Prix. It is Dixon's second win of the season. The victory also moved Dixon to second all-time in IndyCar victories with 53. Major League Baseball, Mets 5, Braves 2. Jacob deGrom struck out 12 and carried a perfect game into the 6th inning of just his second start all season. Rolling Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. J. Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. New week. Same old. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, and Jason Martin. All 4 seasons garage doors, making it possible for us to be here as always. Chig Okonkwo, Titans rookie tight end. Join us a little bit later on in the program. Will Boling get us up to date on some of the things that happened around Nashville over the weekend, as well as Titans training camp. I see people mentioning the Mets. We will not talk about the Mets on this radio program or this radio station.
What happened with the Mets?
Banned. They swept the Braves.
That's petty.
Or it's felt like they did.
I think they took 4 of 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. It might as well have been.
Might as well be a sweep. That's petty, y'all. Why y'all this way?
I don't want to hear about your Mets. Don't care, Selly. Don't really care.
Mets. Wow, Mets are 70-39 on the season. Yankees are skidding a little bit right now. I think they dropped 4 out of 5 also over the past. I know they dropped 4 because RJ was distraught. It was like, they've lost 4. I'm like, okay, kid, it'd be all right. This happens sometimes.
You lost 4 in a row once, didn't you?
Yeah, dude.
Started the season.
Started the season 0-4. God, there's nothing worse than that. First loss is like, all right, we'll bounce back. Second loss is like, okay, all right.
Even sucked in London.
Yeah, that was where the 4th loss came. Yep. You remember that?
Yeah, dog cussed you out.
Heck yeah, I know you did from a couch somewhere. And I'm not even joking you. I'm joking us.
Yeah, y'all were bad.
We were bad that year. Still, that jump started a bunch of other things. The realization that you can't mess around when you're competing. We changed everything after that, Shafe. I won't lie.
You lost a quarter of your season.
We did. Okay, how many ways you going to say this?
I'm just doing this to mess with you.
How many ways are you going to say this?
It ended a lot better than it started.
It did. That season, I promise you, it changed a lot of things. We figured out who our running back was and what our identity was going to be moving forward. After the 3rd loss, you're like, all right, y'all, we got to get this thing together, especially in football. Football is one of those sports that it's a week at a time, so you have to wait on a return on your practice investment. And listen to me, it sucks. The 4th loss, which, I mean, it's like, all right, y'all, got to have this meeting, bring it all in. What do we got to do? Nobody wants to start 0-4. On top of, I think we lost 8 straight, if I'm not mistaken, because we went 0-4 in the preseason. That is that's like 2 months of losing. Mm-hmm. Can you understand? Like, that sucks.
Man, Cleveland knows all about it.
Dong. They will soon enough because they are making headline after head. They had been good, I thought, like between like June until the news of the Deshaun situation. Since then, it has been downhill for the Cleveland Browns, and I usually joke, and I'm still going to joke about it, but That's terrible, man. They're just trying to play football right now. They always got something going on. Like Cleveland, get out of your own way at times. But they can't, Jay. You know why? They went and paid for a quarterback that is getting $230 million guaranteed. Kareem Hunt asked for a trade this weekend. Said, pay me or trade me. I got a feeling he's going to get traded. I don't know if Cleveland's going to pay him. They're in a position where they have Nick Chubb. I don't understand why they got the 1-2 punch. They got a few other guys on their roster, too, that are pretty good. And it's, what's his name? Gus Edwards, I think, is signed to him. It's confusing what Cleveland got going on, and considering they can never keep anybody happy, not even themselves. Also, we got to bring this up. From here on out, on a weekly basis, we have football. We absolutely have it, Shafe. From here on out, if you're not excited about that, you know what? Turn off the radio and go somewhere else because we are in football season from here on out. You know how desperate it's been for me to watch some football? I've been watching Canadian football. That's where I've been. Still can't understand why the end zone is that big.
Oh, you've been watching the Canadian football,
I have.
110-yard fields.
The CFL out here, okay, with the goalpost at the front of the end zone.
Everybody's in motion before the snap.
That to me, I don't see how you play cornerback in that league. That has to be one of the most highest of high, just anxiety positions playing cornerback in the CFL. Because how do you defend somebody with a running start on you? Has to be one of the hardest things ever. If I don't understand why they're not. Yeah, that would be me. I'd be completely honest with you, Shafe. I'd be 5 too slow on that one. Really can't understand it. But I've been watching Canadian football. Watched my kid play football this past weekend. And I drank my beers. That is a solid day right there.
I just want to see health once we start playing across the league.
Yeah.
We got a couple more guys going down over the weekend. It's like a lottery. It's like who's gonna win, who's gonna lose.
Camp, man. Absolutely camp. This is a part of it. How do you get past the injury bug? And when do guys honestly get hurt? That's another component of what camp is, too. If you got somebody with a returnable injury, like midway through the season, first quarter through the season, that can actually work in your favor. That guy probably needs time off anyway. One thing I've noticed, too, is Vrabel. He spreads out the days off with a lot of different players. Like, it's younger guys that get days off. I'm like, you're a very interesting guy, Vrabel, with this days off approach, man. I guess he's more of a player coach than I actually gave him credit for. That's one thing I have heard. I think Roger McCreary had the day off or something like that yesterday. There's a few guys. He really gives guys off, which camp is long. Camp can be very, very taxing on a guy. So to see him be able to do some stuff like that is pretty sweet. We just never expected it.
No. And as you get closer and closer, you start to pay attention more and more to what's happening in other places across the league.
Mm-hmm.
And look, there's still lists coming out. People are still putting out lists.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But we are very, very close finally to getting things done.
We are.
The Stafford thing.
The elbow?
Calling it abnormal. I'm like, that's not what you want to hear.
Saw that.
Like, it's probably all right. He's like, oh, you probably wouldn't even know it. But it's abnormal for a quarterback. Okay, I don't want to hear that, Sean McVay. Like, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm not.
I don't know if
I don't know what that means, but I don't like it.
I don't know if it's the press out in L.A. or what, but they said he still looked impressive this past weekend. I guess they had their open practices for their fans, and they were still they said he was still impressive. So I don't know what that means, if they're just hiding for him or what. But a quarterback with an elbow issue, last one I knew was something like that was Ben, and we saw how that kind of turned up a little bit. It eventually comes get you. Say this, he's already got his ring. He's got his new destination. Apparently, he's jumped on social media. So he's really, really, really having a good time out in L.A., Jay.
N'Keal Harry.
What happened to him?
Severe ankle injury.
Bill Belichick knew that.
Well, that's another Justin Fields target gone.
It's going to be a hard time for that kid out there.
Him.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely terrible for him.
Oh, that's the same thing they say about Sam Darnold a little bit. Like, he never had help. Heard that conversation being made this weekend. As much as it was on Keyshawn, I'm sure, on ESPN, speaking about Baker Mayfield had more help than Sam Darnold did. And I was just like, well, I don't know if that's true, too, considering how Cleveland operates these days. So we'll see what that competition looks like between those two. The state of Carolina got some very interesting quarterback headlines. Okay, you got Rattler at South Carolina.
I was asked who the most Aaron Torres asked me Saturday night who the most interesting player in college football is this year. I thought there were a number of ways that you could go. Spencer Rattler was my answer.
Yeah.
Because of the hype and everything last year and how it all went down, losing that job, and then ending up in an SEC place where those fans are awesome.
Yeah.
But they're not really used to winning like that.
No.
Certainly not under Muschamp and Beamer's still so young. So I'm just fascinated to see what he can do.
Me too. And not just that, what his style is going to look like in the SEC. Do they actually change his style up a little bit? I'm with you. I'm very intrigued on what South Carolina is going to look like. People love their head coach. From my understanding, Shane Beamer he's actually had a really good late push in recruiting. I've been kind of keeping up with that. And just will he actually get a Jalen Hurts situation as far as Rattler goes? Changing schools, changing conferences. You got to think Hurts went from the SEC to the Big 12. He's going from the Big 12 to the SEC. Like, what does that competition look like for a quarterback coming into this conference, especially the SEC? Is he actually going to compete? And as much hype he's had, too. That's the thing about Spencer Rattler. It's the amount of hype that he's had that followed him from high school. They did the QB1 documentary on Netflix to actually going to college and becoming a guy and then get booted out of his position. Not just that, the guy that kicked him out of his position then transfers to USC. What kind of story is this, Jay? Mm-hmm. Should he have actually stayed at Oklahoma and kind of held it down? By the way, Oklahoma had some breaking news last night, too, as one of their coaches resigned. That looked like a ugly situation right there.
What was I about to mention? I was about to say something else. No, it was also another question we were asked, or that was posed was, who is the most, like, what team do you have your eye on the most in college football? And USC was an easy answer. I saved them for most overrated personally.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I don't think they've got the talent yet. And I said it was twofold to me. It's LSU and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They're basically the same because you've got new coaches. You got the Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame, Freeman taking over, and then LSU. I just don't know what that's going to be because right now they're over under. I think it's like 6 wins at LSU.
Is it really?
It's 6 wins at LSU. Way. That's what was mentioned to me then on Saturday. I'm like, really? 6 wins is what people are believing? Like, I can't imagine that's going to go very well.
Either. Not in the first year. Absolutely not. Where are the 6 other losses coming from?
7.5 were the initial odds.
And it's dropped down a little bit?
Maybe.
Wow.
Over 6.5 wins.
I take the over.
That's what it is.
Would you take the over?
I need to see the schedule. Because I don't know who they've got.
Just blindly. I would give me the over on that one because you like their head coach. Brian Kelly is a really good head coach.
But he didn't have his guys there yet, for sure.
But this LSU. You have athletes, period, you know?
You would think
he would be able to adjust on that one.
But you also know, look, A&M's got a ton of guys. Alabama's probably the favorite to win it all again.
Yep.
They're loaded on that side,
and
it might take some time. But I was shocked. I figured they'd still be 7.5.
Yeah.
Something like that. I guess I'd take the over, too.
Speaking of,
or I would take the over.
A&M, we get the first year of the $30 million recruiting class, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
This will be good to see.
That's the other team I think is the most overrated.
A&M?
Yeah, because I just don't think Jimbo's that great.
That's what I was going to say. Is it because of the coach? Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, I think, and I don't know if they've got a quarterback.
I don't know either.
If King is the guy they thought he was going to be, maybe, but I don't know if he is.
By the way, I talked to a guy this past weekend, and apparently Quinn Ewers may not win that starting position in at Texas. Apparently, there's a heated battle between him and the other guy. I'll get you the name after the break.
If he can't get, man, good Lord.
I know. It was explained to me by one of the personnel I saw this past weekend. It's like, look, Quinn may not win this starting position. I was like, well, why did he transfer? They said the guy that was there this past year redshirted, and he's actually really good. So Texas has a big problem on his hand, and we might see another transfer coming out of that.
Geno Smith is going to start in Seattle. Just wanted to drop that before the break. Chig Okonkwo, Titans rookie tight end, 7:40 this morning. Will Boling, 9:20. 615-737-1045 if you want to join us. We'll come back. More on the headlines, more on the weekend, more on what happens the week that preseason begins across the league. It's Jay Martin, Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at Servpro are prepared for anything, like when that relief valve on your water heater fails and it pours gallons of water into your finished basement. Servpro is prepared for it. Or when you have an electrical shortage in your office and it causes extensive smoke and water damage, Servpro is prepared for that too. Or a musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem. Servpro is prepared for it. You need a lot more than help sometimes clean up, and that's why Servpro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drawing all the way to complete structural rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, Servpro is always ready to help. Call Servpro, an official downtown Nashville operator, at 800-SERVPRO to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800-SERVPRO. Servpro, cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchise independently owned and operated.
J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Bold Patriot Thursday will be the site for the Fam hangout. Come chill with us, at least for part of the Titans-Ravens festivities. Then, of course, we'll recap it all on Friday, but good place to come, hang out with us, get set for the season.
That quarterback name that's in competition with Quinn Ewers at Texas name is Hudson Card.
All right.
He's a sophomore dual threat quarterback, highly rated also, and he's in a competition with Quinn Ewers. At least from what one of their front office guys have said, it's looking.
They're saying it's Quinn Ewers to lose.
Is it? Well, apparently Hudson Card is really having a good camp too. So that'll be tough if Quinn Ewers doesn't get that job with Arch Manning coming up behind him.
If he can't get on the field this year, my goodness.
Oh, Jay. That's going to be a tough look right there,
From
man.
Ohio State to Texas, where do you head from there?
Yeah.
Idaho?
I don't know. LSU? Somewhere. That's a bad look for a guy like himself.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is definitely the word, Jay.
Derrick Henry, the video is making rounds of him like crushing another helmet with stiff arms.
Yeah.
Then I went and watched the video. I'm like, really?
What you thought it was.
Like when I saw it, let's say, because ESPN does this like best of training camp every day, and they go around the league and they talk to all the NFL Nation reporters and stuff, and they put all these videos that the teams have put up and things, and Derrick Henry like slamming one of these like helmets on a stick into the ground. I'm just kind of like, am I supposed to be like super impressed by that?
I was peeping it too.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know.
I'm not trying to hate, but I was just kind of like, what? Why am I supposed to care about this?
I saw it.
I know he can stiff arm dudes. I've seen him stiff arm actual human beings.
I've seen human beings get beat down like that. I'm with you, Jay. It's just I thought the same thing.
Because when I saw Derrick Henry breaking helmets, I'm like, well, I got to see this. How did I not know this?
He pushed the helmet off a stick.
Into the ground.
And now I saw him do the first one, and everybody's like, oh, he beat the helmet up. And I'm like, that's usually what screws do when they get smashed and pulled and beat a million times. Like, that was the running back room that knocked the helmet off. It wasn't just Derrick. And the legend, that's all I can say is the legend grows, Jay. There's nothing you can do or say behind it. Like, he knocked the helmet off of a stick, and I bet you
I just
Derrick,
watched the video again because I'm like, maybe I missed it the first time. Maybe it was better.
I bet Derrick is even like, why are y'all making a big fuss out of this?
Man, there wasn't a lot happening at training camp yesterday is what I'm going to say if that made the list.
No, it happened, I feel like Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And I was just like, okay, yeah, he knocked the helmet off of. It's like, this is what he does. Like, I've seen him actually launch a human being, not just one human being, a couple human beings. And for the life of me, that was a bothersome, like, article. I'll be honest with you, Jay. He didn't, like, crush a helmet.
It wasn't even an article.
He knocked
really.
it off
It was just a video, but I was just kind of like, all right, that's not particularly. Like, I was expecting more. Let's just say that.
Oh, that's what I see. And Sally, I see it. It's like, we want publicity. And I'm like, okay, I'm with you. We will take all publicity. I'm with you, Sally, but that wasn't.
But everybody that's going to watch that video and just be like.
Well, I will say this to Derrick's credit. There will be a lot of guys with their head on a swivel this year because of this.
Another thing, this is weird to me. Maybe this has happened before and I just don't remember it, but why is a Hall of Fame induction happening in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday for the NFL?
No other
Isn't that
time.
usually a prime time special?
Usually. But they said this class wasn't necessarily the biggest class to be celebrated. Like, I'm with you. It's usually like 7 o'clock, like on a Saturday or 6 o'clock.
They branded the start of training camp.
I know. I was thinking the same exact thing.
Those dudes deserve their moment just like everybody else does.
Biggest moment. It really is. And I even heard people speaking about it this weekend. It's like, even the stands aren't as packed. I'm like, yo, these are Hall of Famers. Like, again, that's the one thing about the NFL that they do is they'll make everything a production, Jay, but the way they hold people out of the Hall of Fame, like there could have been more names that would have made this a bigger show, and they choose to keep people out, and that's why I'm laughing a little bit at it. Like, This is what y'all get. Y'all trying to be gatekeepers to everybody that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and now you have a class that people weren't excited about it because they know guys earned their way in, but they can do 2 D linemen, they can do 2 quarterbacks, but they choose not to. This upcoming year, they're already putting that one on NFL.com and everywhere else. They're excited about this one. Joe Thomas, I think, is kind of headlining
he's
this
one.
one.
Of them,
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a big ceremony this year. NFL should feel ashamed of that.
I would not be happy if I was Tony Boselli.
No, who's
or
been
Dick
trying to
Vermeil,
get in.
Or Richard Seymour.
Or
Sam Mills. Or Bryant Young, whose speech about his man.
Yeah.
Leroy Butler. These dudes deserve the same moment everybody else had. I was at the gym Saturday, and I saw it on the screen, and I was just like, oh, it must be like they're playing like an old Hall of Fame ceremony.
Nope.
Then it was like, no, that was the actual Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yep. And
I feel like we could have done better than that, NFL.
They've kind of capped the time limit, of course. But who was it? Dick Vermeil's family, I think, spoke like 23 minutes. It said, "Screw your time." So yeah, that was kind of weird to me. I didn't understand.
It didn't seem necessary to do that. Like,
yes,
they had the same. They got into the Hall of Fame. They should have the same moment everybody else does. Yep. That was strange when I found out that was actually the live one. Mm-hmm. So the Padres spent a ton of money.
Yep.
And got swept by the Dodgers.
Yeah, they did. Big time too. What's his name?
Of course, they don't have Tatis
last night. No Tatis, but they've been a good team. They should have been able to pull one out last night. God, who was pitching last night for the Padres? Yu Darvish. They were all over you last night. And he pitched a good game. Jay, that is a stacked team. Dodgers is a stacked team. And Juan Soto couldn't get anything going this past weekend, too. He ended up grounding out on a double play. He just can't find his mark right now. Maybe that's a change of time zone, change of teams. I will say this. He was in the dugout looking at, I guess, clips and notes and stuff like that. So he's clearly frustrated with his performance as of late. But it's baseball, America's pastime, right? You're due to fail at some point in time.
You ready for real violence
on
Monday?
Me. What?
Bill Barnwell put this piece up 1 minute ago. I apologize in advance for this, but this is one you need to pull your notepad out for, potentially. Weaknesses of the best NFL teams in 2022. Achilles heels for 14 Super Bowl contenders, the top 14 contenders. Here's the list. So I just brought this up because I wanted to see what he said the Titans was. The 14 teams, the top 14. Arizona, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, Green Bay, Indy, Kansas City, the Chargers, the Rams, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Bucks. Titans aren't mentioned.
Oh, wow.
So I can't find their weakness because they are not a contender, according to ESPN's Bill Barnwell.
Sheesh. Baltimore, Buffalo, Cleveland. Wow. Yeah. Indy's in there.
Cleveland.
Well, Deshaun situation. I mean, they should compete. They have a good group. Again, I don't know what their wide receivers are, but they do have a good group.
Of course, Indy made it.
Indy did make it. We'll have to talk about that at some point.
The Vikings are a contender. Cincinnati's not mentioned.
Vikings? Barnwell usually does a good job, Jay. For him to drop this.
How is Cincinnati not mentioned?
They got their first place schedule.
This is the 14 teams the Football Power Index believes have the best chance of advancing. Some notable teams are left out. So if you're a fan of the Bengals, Patriots, Saints, Titans, or Niners, direct your messages to the algorithm. I mean,
what's the algorithm?
Why base it on an algorithm if you're going to leave out Cincinnati or San Francisco or Tennessee?
Yeah.
I don't know that's a weird piece. Like, Barnwell usually is better than that.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I just kind of look at this like, why are you going to use the FPI just because you're trying to pump it up because it's ESPN's stat that's not very good? It's your own stat. It's like an ESPY award.
Well, we'll have to go through this.
That's weird.
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
Really weird.
We got to see what they got to say. First team up, Buffalo Bills guard. By the way, I didn't realize Roger Saffold had an accident. He's not practiced.
You think he's back now?
Yeah, he is. He practiced yesterday. I didn't realize he was out. I know we're gonna have to read through this Barnwell piece in a minute, but
I mean, not really. I just can't
you
believe
can't believe the Titans.
some of the
not on
teams
that
that are
list.
not on this list.
Notable names that keep coming up at camp: Kyle Phillips and Roger McCreary. Again, it's like the same old song too. Just looking at the notes over the weekend, guys making plays. It's clear that Kyle Phillips is going to be running with the first team at some point in time this year. He's always in the 7-on-7 drill. He's always in the red zone. I think he was in the 2-minute drill with Tannehill with the first group this past weekend. That kid, I knew Coach Mack and Mike Keith were excited about him. They were from the get-go. It was just like, we're going to see what he looks like. From day one, they were excited about him. To hear him actually making plays at a position that needs a whole lot of answers and a guy that needs a whole lot of weapons in Ryan Tannehill, this is a good thing. This is a real good thing. And, again, I didn't think there was a need to actually take a cornerback. I said this last week. I didn't think there was a need. And for Roger McCreary to actually be making plays the way he is right now is a huge plus for this team, because I'm still not sure on Caleb Farley. Consider it's been, 2 years really? He played a little bit last year, but he hasn't had a full season yet. So this is a great contingency plan as far as a guy that can play on the outside if needed, with the way Roger McCreary has stepped up so far in camp. Those two names keep ringing out every single day from Titans camp. So we'll see what this turns into on Thursday, actually, Jay.
Yep.
We actually have a game and a link up, so I'm looking forward to it.
Look, eventually we're going to finally get to see these guys against actual competition, but we'll take the fake competition for now.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to see what they look like in the uniform, what they look like as part of whatever. And, you're not going to see that much. They're not going to show that much. And before long, they're playing week 1 against the Giants, and then we're off and running. Then we find out what they've got, how far they have to go, all of that kind of stuff. And the more tape you get, the more we'll find weaknesses and all of that. But everything's been positive around some of those guys. Chig Okonkwo getting talked about very highly as well. He'll join us an hour from now.
Yeah. And just as far as, the first preseason game goes, for the young guys, though, I think we'll see a lot. We'll see how they compete. Like, do they really have what it takes? Because teams are going to be gunning for them, because the cool part about preseason to me is guys are actually fighting for jobs, especially dudes in their position, like a guy like Chig trying to find his way onto this offense to be a valuable asset. Kyle Phillips been another guy, and of course seeing what Malik is actually going to look like. The one constant factor we've heard about Malik and kind of seen from him in camp is this: he has some good plays
and some bad plays. He's not anywhere near ready.
No.
And so don't try to manifest that out.
I've seen some people as of late just say, nope, not this year.
Yeah.
Don't need to, don't want to see him, not this year. And it's, I guess it's the consistency of his good and bad plays. Like, it's not a full good day from what I've seen. And because of that, you got to kind of pipe down on the fact that you're trying to rush Tannehill out, So we'll see how this Thursday kind of kicks off with him. I'm sure getting the lion's share, unless you want to see Logan Woodside, who I think is still going to be number 2 this year.
Man, but I don't think that's even a lukewarm take.
Yeah,
I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
What you want is for 17 to stay up.
Yep.
And stay healthy, because he's the guy this year. There's not really any argument to be had.
No. And Ben Jones, we must protect him. Just got to forever.
Oh, well, there's dudes you got to protect. But if your quarterback's not one of them.
We got to protect Ben, make sure that he gets back up, man. That's our guy.
615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. I will say this to Barnwell. ESPN's algorithm picked those 14 teams. There wasn't a human being that did it. They just, whoever the top 14 they believe had the best chance to advance in the playoffs or chances to make the playoffs, from the Bills 74.8% to the last team on that list. Whatever. That's where you end up.
Yeah.
So it's not like ESPN picked this team over this team. This algorithm, whatever it is, did. I would just say, and it even says at the beginning of this article, picking playoff contenders can be thorny business. So I've decided to let this algorithm take the heat on this one. It's like, just don't write the article. Or just say, what are any team that made the playoffs last year, you should probably say, well, here's a weakness for them next year. Are they contenders? Are the Titans a legit contender? I don't know. I think that's subjective. But I think to leave them and Cincinnati in particular out, and the Niners. And their biggest weakness really for me right now is, what is Trey Lance?
And they can't find a trade for Jimmy G. That's tough.
Which is kind of nuts, because he's not terrible, and he can help a football team out there. And they need his $26 million off before week 1.
Sounds like a Brown situation to me.
615-737-1045. We'll be back. Jay Martin, Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, so it's been hot. We know this. Grass and lawn and landscapes probably been ravaged because of the lack of rain. Then we started to get some rain. Might get some more rain this week. But as you're trying to get everything ready for the fall, Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply has everything you need. They've got your fertilizers, your seeds, your pre-emergents, your herbicides. If it's time to trim some bushes, cut some grass, keep those weeds out, keep those insects down, they got it all. Like right now, we got a couple of toadstools popping up in the front yard, so we know we need to take care of those. And we're going to go to Dickens. I'm going to talk to my guy Trey over there and get everything going. Quality parts, products, best advice. They are really a one-stop shop when it comes to DIYing your lawn and landscape care, or setting you up with people that can do the job for you if it's one that's maybe you're not as comfortable doing. They can get it done. They got everything that you need, and they service just about everything that they sell. 8, actually now 9. It was 8 at one point. Now it's 9 locations: Nashville, Cool Springs, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Longmore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Franklin, Knoxville, coming soon to Maryville. It's Dickens Supply. Go where the pros go. Go where I go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, or online, dickenssupply.com.
1045 The Zone, excited for our first hashtag For the Fam hangout. That's coming up on Thursday. Join the fam as we hang out at Bold Patriot Brewing. That's inside the L&O Market off of Charlotte Avenue. Titans at Ravens preseason game. We're going to start our party at 5 o'clock Thursday. Enjoy delicious craft beer from Bold Patriot and Food Bio Charlie's. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com/event today.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. That'll be fun on Thursday, hanging out with everybody. Slay, you're not invited.
Hey.
Only because he was in the chat angry that we didn't invite him. So now I'm going to make sure he knows he's not invited. No, Ron, we're expecting you to be there. We'll be very disappointed if you're not.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to this Thursday.
It is. It's going to be a good time.
So, yeah, there has to be a situation you're looking forward to seeing this weekend. I mean, this week, though, Jay, this Thursday. Is it young D-line, wide receivers? Malik is Malik. Everybody's going to be – that's the story.
That's the
what
easiest
is Malik.
answer. Usually when preseason happens, what do you want to see? You want to see the quarterbacks. You want to see them all across the league,
right.
The new guys, what they're doing. Even though you may not see that much of them, you may get a good bit of Malik.
Yeah.
You should get a good bit of Malik.
Yeah.
But I would say the receivers.
The receivers.
And I want to actually see what McCreary looks like.
In the game,
Yes.
right? Like, we've heard all of this about practice. Like, goodness. Like, this kid has really just been having a heck of a camp. And for him to be in this position now to actually go up against competition, I'll say this, though. We might see more what is his physical side is like aside from his passing game, because Baltimore is not necessarily the biggest passer, the passing team in the NFL. So we'll see which guys are intentional on being physical. Baltimore and Titans, the Ratbirds or something like to call them, that has kind of turned into – no, it's been a rivalry. I just didn't understand it was a rivalry like that. Do you think the coaches shake hands this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that whole little situation?
I mean, Harbaugh's one of the one coaches that treats preseason like it's a regular season.
Yeah.
I remember you talked to Alejandro last year. He's talking about practice. He's like, we never went like this in Pittsburgh.
No.
Which is why dudes were dropping like flies last year.
That explains
they were
a
practicing
lot.
too hard.
Yeah. Like, and some people are supposed to practice. No.
Nah.
There are methods to how you actually practice. And apparently, from what my now retired buddy Alejandro said, is they go out of their way to make it a hard practice. Now, that in itself could get, like you said, Jay, the injury bug in which they dealt with last year, guys not being available for practice. They won't have any cohesion with the wide receivers that they need a part of the game plan. So it'll be interesting to see what Baltimore comes out looking like. Their big safety they got. I think the kid is like 6'2" from Washington. I think that's where he's from. First rounder, but there was a clip of him just getting smoked in coverage. So we'll see what this is going to look like. I'm excited, though, for the receiving group this week.
The Achilles heel for the Rams, by the way, is running back. You know what I immediately thought?
Oh.
Kareem Hunt.
Well, yeah. He probably – and that's the thing. Kareem probably knows it.
Of course he does.
His agency probably knows. They need a running back. Why did they have you here? I got to look and see who Cleveland Brown has on their roster as running backs, man. They absolutely know he has value somewhere else. I hate that I even have to type in
or look,
Brown's name.
Cleveland's a bad situation. It's
Yeah.
a bad spot.
He has a part of that history. In which
Yes,
Deshaun
he
is
does.
dealing with.
Yes, he does.
By the way, the massage therapist convention was in
Yeah.
Cleveland this weekend.
So we had a guest on Fox Saturday night who's pretty tied in to what's happening in the NFL, and he said his sources have told him the league wants minimum of a year, a $10 million fine, and completed treatment.
Jeez.
Before they'll consider reinstatement. That's what they're going for. That's what they're asking for.
That's about
we'll
right.
see.
That's enough to put a fix in right there. That is enough to put a fix in, man. So they're running backs on roster for Cleveland. They do have a surplus of just good running backs. Nick Chubb, we know who he is, right? They have Demetric Felton Jr., second-year guy at UCLA. They drafted Jerome Ford this year out of Cincinnati in the 5th round. He's a guy that could potentially make this roster just based on the fact that he's a 5th rounder. Kareem Hunt and Ernest Johnson and John Kelly Jr., go Vols, is on this roster too. They have a good running back staple. They can't keep all of them. If it was me, I go with Nick Chubb, Dearness Johnson, and probably Demetric Felton Jr. John Kelly Jr. for sure is in the mix from UT. So he ain't wrong. He deserved to ask for a trade in this situation, knowing that he's probably going to be underutilized and just simply, why am I hanging here when I can be in a starting role? That's the thing about Kareem Hunt. He's talented enough to be a starter.
Absolutely.
Talented
Especially on
enough.
a team that's got other weapons.
That many weapons, yeah.
Because we saw what he did in Kansas City.
Yes.
And if I'm Nick Chubb, I'm like, man, it'd be nice to see.
To be number one.
To actually get the opportunity to back up what everybody says about how good I am.
Yeah. He's yet to get paid, too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I don't think his has come up yet.
Yeah. And
But it's got to be near.
Should be the year.
Yeah, it's got to be near.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is your telephone number to reach us. Again, about 50 minutes from right now, Chig Okonkwo.
He did, Jay. He signed a 3-year, $36 million.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yep.
I mean, that's a running back deal.
Yep.
You see Will Zalatoris?
No.
Fire his caddy halfway through the round.
Said they're best friends.
They've been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Zalatoris had 2 eagles down the stretch. He's like, that's why I let you go. You don't see that. You don't see it usually during. You can't get to the end of the round.
In the middle of.
It's the Wyndham. It's not the Masters. We're in Greensboro. We're not at Augusta.
Perfect time to get rid of a buddy.
He had 3 runner-up finishes this year. 1 back of U.S. Open champion Matt Fitzpatrick. So he's got one of his instructors as a fill-in caddy. He was 4 under 66 the day after he let the guy go.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I don't know if there was some beef personally, but halfway through the round, get out.
Yep.
You see the caddy leave. That's a rarity.
Did he carry his own clubs?
I don't know.
Because that's the case, right? That's what the caddy does, is carry the clubs too. On the pros, that is.
Yikes.
Good for him.
All right. You do what you got to do. 615-737-1045 is the telephone number. Hour number 2 coming up. Another thing ESPN did was rank the offensive lines in the NFL.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You don't even have to play the sounder.
Yeah.
We will discuss where they have the Titans ranked there and who the number 1 O-line in the league is. And that's going to be more violence. It's Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
The kids are back in school, at least in Tennessee, that is, for the most part. And guess what? It's time for Window Nation's back to school sale, where you can get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Plus, pay nothing with no interest until 2025. Yes, that is a good bit away, where you can lower your energy bills and raise the value of your home with new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation, Jay, and get an A+ in savings while you do it.
1 million windows in over 150,000 homes, 96% needing no follow-up service. I've experienced it now. The windows haven't been put in yet. They're on order, but they've come. They came again last week, measured again. We went through everything. Abby was wondering if there was another window or 2 that needed to be replaced. So she asked the questions, got the answers, realized, nope, we're good to go on those. But we know. And we know now how to check them ourselves. If they're hard to open, if they lock when they close, things like that. Obviously, if they're drafty. But if they're sticking or if they're cracked, any of those things, you can need new windows. Those old drafty windows are costing you money on heating and cooling bills. And again, Window Nation has saved customers over $60 million on their energy bills. I'm looking forward to being part of that. The next total we read, I hope it's $100 million real soon, because energy costs are outrageous. So your windows got to be right. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Any style window from Window Nation, no limit, no payments, no down payment, no payments, no interest until 2025. It's a lot of no's, but there's one yes. It's Window Nation. Save thousands on your new windows and your energy bills, all while upgrading the look and feel of your home. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or online where, Mo?
At windownation.com.
7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans training camp continues. Team hits the practice field at 9:30 today. The Buck Rising Show live from St. Thomas Sports Park at 10. Titans rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo joins J Mart and Ramon at 7:40 this morning. Running back Kareem Hunt, who is seeking a contract extension, has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, but the team has declined that request. Hunt, who is in the final year of a 2-year, $12 million deal, returned to team drills on Sunday. After nearly a 2-hour weather delay, 6-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon won the Music City Grand Prix. It is Dixon's second win of the season. Also moved Dixon to second all-time in IndyCar wins with 53. Major League Baseball yesterday, Mets 5, Braves 2. Jacob deGrom struck out 12 and carried a perfect game into the 6th inning in just his second start of the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening in hour 2? J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Lifted up by all four seasons, garage doors in Nashville. Final segment of this hour, Chig Okonkwo. Looking forward to the conversation with the rookie tight end for your Tennessee Titans, who are on the field Thursday against the Ratbirds. Mm-hmm. Preseason game number 1. We'll be at Bold Patriot to watch it with all of you. The hashtag for the fam inaugural hangout. Come chill with us. Have a beverage or 2 or 5. We'll have some food there. Mm-hmm. It'll be a good time. Looking forward to it. Pete Rose. What are we doing here?
Deshaun Sr. at this point. Bill Cosby Sr. at this point. Like, golly.
Just,
I see why people dislike him. And like, I didn't know this much about Pete Rose and this much. I mean, in this depth, but apparently he rubs people the wrong way and said stuff he's not supposed to and did stuff he shouldn't have been doing this past weekend.
Yeah.
You're going to get the Philadelphia station a big old fine. And he did it on purpose, too.
He's just
cussing on air and dropping stuff he's not supposed to say on air, and basically said, look, that's old news. We're moving on past
55 years ago, babe.
55 years ago. And use babe at the end of that comment. Like, come on, Pete Rose. You're not making it better for yourself. Maybe he just doesn't care. I actually saw his Twitter account, too.
Why are we expecting a guy who acts like a scumbag to not act like a scumbag?
Well, see, let me explain. I didn't know he was like this, Shafe. I had no idea. All I've ever heard about Pete Rose is a great baseball player. He bet on games / he didn't bet on his team, and he should be in the Hall of Fame because his numbers and stats don't lie. I didn't realize Pete Rose was a dumpster juice scumbag. There have been different situations in which he's kind of led this way. Yeah,
just a jerk.
That's one of the reasons he's not in the Hall. Past the gambling side is he's a red ass.
He's just okay. I didn't.
In the eyes of many. Look, I've never met him, so I'm not speaking personally. I have no idea, but he's definitely a GNF guy.
Yeah. If you go listen to the clip, we can't play it on here. But if you go listen to the clip, you'll hear him laughing, telling the joke about a fastball that he saw. And the guy at the end of it said, there isn't a 7-second delay, right? You knew that. And he starts to laugh. And I'm just like, yeah, you're pretty scummy to kind of go through that type of stuff. It is what it is. He'll die never getting into the Hall of Fame for such a guy that had a great career.
Seth Walder of ESPN, this is what I was teasing before the break, projecting the NFL's best and worst offensive lines, ranking all 32 teams' pass and run block win rates for 2022. They look at the stats and look at the numbers again. He's an analytics guy over at ESPN. All these look like they make sense. And this is why I said it was violent. Well, I mean, the Titans are low on this list, but I think most people are going to have them low because there's a lot of unproven talent, a lot of youth on that team.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see what it is. Last year, I think they were a little better than middle of the road in this same classification, but they are 27th this year. I can tell you that.
The Titans are?
Yeah.
27. Golly.
Number one is the Chiefs. That's why it's violent. Because you know why. All right, projecting starters, Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Andrew Wiley.
All 5 of those dudes could be Pro Bowlers.
It says this to that point. It's hard to imagine an investment in the O-line going much better than this. That's most notable on the interior where they drafted or signed the number 1 center in pass block win rate in Humphrey.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers 1 and 2 guards in the league in Thuney and Smith. They were home run moves and particularly remarkable considering Smith was a 6th-round pick. It's violent because he could have been here, and I'm never going to let that go. Yeah. Because it's not like we saw it and said, well, you should have done it. Like, no, we said it before the draft.
Yeah.
And then certainly that weekend we were all saying it. I'm not going to let that one go.
Yeah. Trey was going to be a stud. You knew and saw his play, and I get the idea that look, we don't want low maintenance. We want no maintenance as far as players go, especially young guys coming into the league. But Trey proved he can play in high school, coming out as the number 1 overall prospect. Trey proved he could play at UT with the way he was violent during those games, and we saw it last year on display for everybody. I get it, understanding the medical side of what he needed it. As far as his, being attentive to him, Trey can play. And to your point, Jay, we called this a while ago. You go get him, when he started to slide a little bit, you knew he was going to be angry. And he kind of alluded to this in that seat over there. Yeah, I understood what I was up against. But water under the bridge for some. I am of the mindset that we're going to definitely keep up with Trey Smith. VFL, number 1, but – if you could have had him here in that left guard position, that would have been huge.
Just because we always have to look at it. Colts are 9th.
What are they saying about their offensive line?
Matt Pryor, Q, healthy this year.
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly, Danny Pinter, Braden Smith. Nelson had a down year because he was hurt. But he was still 12th and 13th in pass block and run block win rate in the league. Smith at right tackle was reliable. Improved from 30th in pass block win rate to 4th last season. So it's encouraging in that way. I think at that point you can start to look at all the teams around that and say, yeah, there's probably a question mark here. Let's go to the Titans and see what they say here. Lewan, Brewer, Jones, Davis, Radens, which we all kind of think. Predicted pass block rate, 22nd. Run block rank, 31. Mm-hmm. All 4 qualifiers from this line ranked below average in run block win rate last season. 5th player Radens had a 54% run block win rate over 118 snaps at tackle and guard, which would have been the worst at either position had he played enough to qualify. Running back Derrick Henry is not going to have it easier this year. Steelers are 28th, by the way.
Yeah, I figured they would be low. Hold up. So they have them, the Titans, as a 28th rank?
27th.
As far as the run?
A pass and run together. Those numbers. They've got pass block 22nd, run block 31st.
Run block 31st. This is a running team, though. Like, where does the algorithm hit as far as them being that bad and run? The one part of this offensive line that I thought had to get cleared up fast was the pass protecting.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you.
But they got the run game being that low.
That's what they've got it predicted to be, and I guess that's just based on what the individual players did.
Yeah,
and what the loss of a Saffold means, for example, or something like that. I think it also says that the running backs do a lot of work, do a good job on their own. I think that's low for me, but it is. Look, nobody's going to rank guys like Brewer and Radens high because nobody's seen enough of them, even though it's an analytic. Look, they're still looking at these guys individually. Mm-hmm. Jones was in and out of the lineup. He was finishing games, but he would miss snaps.
Yeah.
Lewan missed time last year.
Yeah.
And you have to think, well, is he all of a sudden going to be miraculously healthy now?
Right.
As injuries have kind of hit him the last few years. And then Nate had a down year last year.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be what you have. I would say if the Titans are 27th at the end of this year, this has not been a good season.
All I was thinking of for a team that's known to run the ball and run as efficiently as the Titans have year after year after year, I felt like a level of respect, or as far as the ranking goes, would have actually held them at least on the top half of this as a team. Like, this is the one thing they've always done. Last year for the Titans, 2,404 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns, and average 4.4 yards a carry. Like, that's who they are as a team. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of watching that list say they'll be 28th is kind of confusing as far as how it's never shaking out that way for the Titans. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, no,
And
yeah.
I'm not
agree with
pushing
you.
up against it. I'm just like, this isn't even the way they operate to be that low. Passing game being 28th or pass pro, all right, I know there's some work to be done there. I just never saw this being the case, man.
Yeah. So, again, they had 22nd for pass and 31st for run.
22nd for pass.
We'll see. I mean, the O-line is our biggest question mark. It's everybody's biggest question mark this year for the team. It's not like I expected them to be top 15. That was lower than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Just because there's some bad lines in this league, too.
And that's one thing I was talking to somebody about last night is finding good OL play is hard. Is super hard, whereas you see older guys that continue to get chances. Why? Because the young guys aren't developed much in college anymore. Like, having a ready-made guy like Trey, like Creed Humphreys is a hard ask these days, considering the way offenses in college play. Now, there's some teams that play hard-nosed, battle you type of football, but that's not a common thing anymore in the college sports world when it comes down to O-line play. Again, seeing them be higher in pass pro is a little of a surprise for me, if I can be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at like how they set it all up, but they predicted, and it's predicted for this year. Certainly, that means what last year's numbers doesn't necessarily correlate all around. You did have a couple of changes in terms of Saffold leaving and things like that.
Yeah. Also, Nicholas Petit-Frere also got first-team snaps this weekend.
Says rookie starters assumed to be below average. That's historically what they usually are, even first-rounders. Players who have played, but only in small amounts, have previous win rates regress toward a below-average level. Then we average pass and run block ranks with a 60-40 split favoring the passing game based approximately on how much pass block and run block correlate with the team's expected points added per play. And then it gets into all the analytics stuff. So it's an analytics rating, but the O-line for the Titans doesn't reflect well in this particular grouping. Yeah. Luckily, again, all this stuff on a paper or stuff on a screen, and they're going to have to go out there and ball out one way or the other.
Yeah. That's kind of wild to me. But we'll see how this shakes out.
But the Chiefs being one is what's frustrating to me, because I look at that Trey Smith name. It's just like, you could have had that guy. We wouldn't have had this. We wouldn't have had some of these questions.
We'd have been ooh and nah in this year.
Yeah.
But that Kansas City 5, all 5 can be Pro Bowlers. 3 have already.
615-737-1045. Chig Okonkwo, about 25 minutes away. We'll come back and take some of your phone calls. There's also another ESPN list that came out. 32 NFL teams ranked by their under 25 talent. The Titans are 31st. We'll be back. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
Jeez.
Hey, Lee Company. So they pretty much do everything. If it's on the to-do list for your home, they can get it done. If it's heating, if it's air conditioning, if it's plumbing, it's electrical, this is a team that you absolutely have to get on your side. There's deals, there's specials, and there's just expert work that can be done. With Lee Company on the job, you got more time to enjoy your home and your life. Their team of expert pros specialized in their field, so you can count on the craftsmanship and excellence of the work being done. I want you to call them today. Experience expertise that makes your life easier. Get them out there for that service call, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, whatever it is that you need. Lee Company can get the job done for you. You can reach them easily at 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000 or online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. J. Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, Chig Okonkwo. Next segment, which means this one will get out a little bit sooner so we can spend a little bit more time with the rookie tight end. It has a lot of people excited for the future. Titans are 31st on the ESPN list of ranking 32 NFL teams by their under 25 talent. Before you go nuclear on that, Jeff Simmons is not qualified anymore because he's 25. This is under 25. AJ is now gone.
Yep.
Nate Davis, David Long, Tierre Tart, NWI, all also off that list. They're all over the limit. It's under 25. So you're really looking at the last couple draft classes for the most part. Those haven't been great.
Yeah.
So you've got some rookie guys there, but then you look at this is more of an older team if you look at 25. Obviously, Derrick Henry's older. Tannehill's older.
Yeah.
Malik Willis, we had no idea. Isaiah did not work. That was mentioned. Christian Fulton's been hurt a lot, but we think he's really good. Caleb Farley, we haven't got to see him play actual football yet, really.
Not yet.
Amani Hooker became a starter in his third season, and now he's looking the part. And then you've got, McCreary. So it's just based on the fact that a lot of these guys aged out of this list because you can't put guys that would have made it there. So that being 31st doesn't bother me as much. The Rams are dead last. And we know they're an older team.
Well, yeah, they're built by vets
right.
on their team. Yeah.
So absolutely. that one didn't bother me very much. Last year they were 19th.
Because
the Titans were.
AJ.
Jeff Simmons, AJ, guys like that. And then 2020 they were 15. So it's gone the numbers have gone down. And that's just, look, what that is an indication that the drafts over the last few years haven't been great for John Robinson.
And some of these guys got to grow up a little bit as far as their playing time kind of sits in front of them moving forward. If you get great results this year and the guys from this draft class have an opportunity to grow up, you have a different conversation. Like you said, bringing up Chig, bringing up Kyle Phillips, bringing up guys like that, Roger McCreary. Like, I feel like Traylon, like these young guys, and that's one of the questions I want to ask them, like, what did they actually tell you guys going into camp? Because this has been by far one of the most competitive rookie classes since I've been covering. It seems like since 2019. Has there been a more competitive class that the Titans have had as of late? You say they could hit on like at least four guys.
It's weird to feel that way because everybody gets excited about draft picks, and you see them and you realize, okay, maybe we were wearing two-tone blue glasses, or maybe we were wearing black and gold glasses, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have the same feeling, and I think a lot of people do. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's 2019 again. Yeah. But I am saying that I feel much more positive about this class than the last few, and I am increasingly optimistic about a couple guys that I weren't sure were good picks at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what J-Rob needed. I still think his career is largely AJ and Traylon is going to be a lot of the discussion.
Yep.
Malik, because of when you drafted him, even if it doesn't work out, that's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
If you took him in the first round, then you got a bigger risk there. But I think the under 25 list, you look at that in a couple years, and then you can kind of determine where your guys have played off their first contracts, what they've done as rookies in that first few years. And look, the Titans haven't been great at those positions, and the guys that have been drafted. Look, Des Fitzpatrick and all these things, maybe they end up becoming something, but they obviously haven't proven anything now. So I actually think them being pretty low probably makes sense based on the way their draft classes have been the last few years.
And the way the way this team is kind of transformed into an older guy, AJ transitioning off the team and whatnot. But, looking at this draft class from this year, Traylon Burks, we've heard good things about him since camp has started.
Yep.
It seems that we've gotten past, the issues that he had in the springtime. Roger McCreary, nothing but great things about him, too. Nicholas Petit-Frere, third-round draft pick, great things from Malik. We understand what that situation is right now, right, Jay? Like, this is what it is. Hassan Haskins, same thing, although he did put a ball on the ground this past weekend. Can't have those type of issues, man, for a young guy vying for playing time, playing behind Derrick, because Derrick doesn't come off the field. You can't be a young dude dropping the ball or putting the ball on the ground because of a fumble. I get it. It happens. But You're not in that position to actually make those type of mistakes. Chig Okonkwo, another guy we've heard nothing but great things about. We hear the commercial now where Blaine is talking about how big his trunks and legs are. Theo Jackson, another guy that's made some good headlines throughout the training camp. Now, it ain't all going to be perfect. And then the last pick for the Titans, Chance Campbell, this past weekend had a good weekend for himself too. Not that, everybody's trying to highlight these rookies, but they are having a really solid start of training camp. And this is very encouraging, Jay, because as you said, some of these guys are becoming 25 plus. Some of these guys are becoming, they got to start making decisions on them. And it's good to see this group actually starting off camp the right way in their first year. Good on John Robinson on looking like he's gotten this right. It ain't what you thought it was going to be as far as finding another Jeff or finding another AJ right now, at least. But Traylon is leading the charge, and everybody else is following behind him. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, and I think that's fair. And I think again we'll have Chig Okonkwo next segment be able to talk to him about the transition and how he feels right now with football to be played. By the way, the under 25 list, the Cowboys are number 1. When you've got Micah Parsons. You've got Trevon Diggs. You've got CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. All those guys still there. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of teams that have drafted well. The Chargers are number 2.
Well, they've had a lot
Herbert,
of picks,
Rashawn Slater, guys like that. The Jets are 3rd. So, again, this doesn't mean anything about success. It just means you feel like they've drafted well.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wilson is listed as blue chip. I would not put him there because I need to see.
Zach
I need to see second year blue chip. Sauce Gardner, we haven't seen, but you like, right?
He's
Garrett
high up
Wilson,
on the list.
You think the Jets are 3rd.
And not played yet? I know they had a big, youthful draft this year, but that's
basically they said the Jets won the draft.
He's expecting to
they won the draft on paper.
That's tough.
Yeah. By the way, Buck's going to have Traylon Burks at 11:20 today. So we got Chig Okonkwo, he's got Traylon. So we're going to get everybody. We're going to get every new receiver for this team.
That's going to be huge for this team, though, if those young guys can make starters into themselves, especially a guy like Chig as a 5th round draft pick, 4th round draft pick, number 143 overall. That's John Robinson. You might have. We had a comment come in from our Twitter account that said, from Michael the Jesus said, and this is about right. If you can hit 2019 every 2 to 3 years, does that make up for the other drafts? Because you think about it, if AJ was still here, you really have really good receivers. You really have guys that name-wise that are going to be a part of your team if you can pay them. AJ's not here because they chose not to pay him. With that being said, if this 19 group comes out, you get a lineman out of Nicholas Petit-Frere. You get another wide receiver. You get a tight end. Whatever Malik turns into. And you also got a scat guy like Kyle Phillips. I'm not even mentioning a running back. Like, we got to think about it. Like, Hassan Haskins is a 4th round draft pick. If he turns into a second version of Derrick, you really got yourself a solid
that's a big
class.
if, though, Moan.
But even if he's not Derrick, if he's a starter, if he's a guy that I'm not saying Derrick. I'm
going back to the word encouraging. I'm
encouraged by it.
I need to see. I need to see.
But
I need to see him actually play.
This is a great spot to be in as an organization, to have these type of young guys that you see. Okay, this can be the succession plan. This could be our next phase and next wave, whatever it is.
It could be.
So that's the part to me that's encouraging about this class so far.
Yeah, again, it's encouraging. That's all I want to say, because I think that's the only smart thing you can say right now. Like, I need to see them against teams they're not working with every day. I need to see them when they're on the field in actual game situations. Right now, they've done all that you can ask them to do, it seems like, and that's a positive. And it's encouraging. And this isn't trying to pour cold water. It's just we got to be measured. We got to be careful.
Yeah.
Watch yourself just a little bit. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, like, out there, if you're getting too high on this, understand most everybody in the league feels this way about their rookies.
Well, what were we last year?
Last year, you weren't sure about Caleb.
Weren't sure about Caleb. No, we were lost last year when it came to it.
Yeah.
2021 draft class was Caleb. No, we did not feel this way about this group.
No.
Caleb, Dylan Radins, Money Rice, we were questioning that one. Was like, you had to go get Money. Money turned out to be a good pick. Elijah Molden was actually the gem of the class.
You don't know that yet.
He was the gem of the class last year. Right?
You're hoping Caleb's the gem of that class.
I know, but I'm just saying as far as the start. This year, it seems like
in terms of
last year he was
in terms of
certainly the best.
production.
Yeah, he was the only one in terms of
That's
production.
the point I'm getting.
Elijah
Molden.
No, Elijah Molden was out of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Naquan was better than the rest of the
I thought
class.
you meant Monty was in terms of production.
No. I was speaking of Elijah
Rashad
Molden.
got hurt, but
Yeah.
you kind of liked Rashad. You were saying a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff about
I
Rashad
love
before the
Rashad.
season and based on the preseason.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is most years you try to get yourself talked into the guys you haven't gotten to see yet.
Yeah.
And that happens in most places in the league. So right now, if we just say, hey, man, real encouraging what you're seeing, man. This could be really good. Could be is the key factor in that. Don't put too much pressure on them just yet.
Keep your powder dry.
One of the guys people are excited about is Chig Okonkwo. He will be with us on the other side of this break. Looking forward to it. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. So you want to paint the living room, you want to have pets, you want to upgrade things in your home, repair them without having to submit some long request that might never be answered because, I mean, the landlord doesn't really care. Like they don't care how comfortable you are in there. You're paying them money every week. You're not creating any equity for yourself. If you want to get out of that apartment life because it can be annoying, it can be tough. There's some good things. It's a necessary thing for a lot of us. But being able to have your music, TV where you want them, things like that, not having to worry about parking spots, and again, creating equity for yourself. I want you to call Mortgage Investors Group because you can get into a home. They're here to help you get the right home loan for you because they care. They're committed to making sure you close on time. They're going to structure your loan the best way. They're going to help you make your home buying goals a reality. There is an MIG difference. Over 2,600 reviews on Zillow will prove it to you. So go to Zillow, look it up. You'll be happy. Then go to migonline.com and make that smile even wider. Find the office nearest you at migonline.com or text MIG, 3 letters, MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan, equal housing lender, license number 109111. What's happening? J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life. Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at J Mart Radio, at J Mart and Ramon. To the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Haven't talked to any of the new class so far, and now we are. This is not Saved by the Bell, the new class. This show's actually good. And I bet that show is going to be good, too. Chig Okonkwo, who played at Maryland, of course, now a tight end for your Tennessee Titans, joining us on the line. Chig, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. So how's everything going? Obviously, life is pretty good for you, but as a rookie, how is the transition going? How was your first camp?
Yeah, man, it's definitely interesting. It's pretty much different, a lot different from college. You know, college you were in the building from all day long. Now you have a little bit more free time in the NFL, a lot more time to watch film and study stuff on your own, and just trying to stay on top of things like that.
So obviously you have athleticism. We've heard some of the comparisons, and we've gotten to take a look and see some of the stuff that you've been doing in camp. But one of the things that stood out to me reading articles about you is how, yeah, you're athletic, but that's not going to be enough for you. That you're putting in the work, that you're putting in the study. How important is it to you, your preparation, understanding the NFL game, understanding the installs, being able to be a part of this team quickly?
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, you need to know the plays to be able to play. So, I mean, for me, it's like that's the number one thing always is just make sure you know your stuff, because once you get on the field, it's like you if you make a mistake, your teammates around you aren't going to trust you. So, just developing that trust with everybody by making sure you know your stuff and making sure you're able to do it well. Make sure you're able to answer all the questions in the meeting, just things like that. So, just preparing, watching extra film, like studying my notes, those are just things that helps me. Get on the field a lot faster.
Thanks for joining us this morning, man. And the first question I would ask you, though, is with that free time, in college you got to go to class, check in, everything else you got to do. Was the biggest adjustment was understanding that film actually means a lot when it comes to your day-to-day just advancement from practice to practice?
Yeah, whether it be film, whether it just be studying like installs, or just studying the notes and the corrections, from the day before. Those are things I like to do in my free time. So mainly what I'll do is I'll go home, study my corrections, go over the notes, go over the script, and then, if I have time, I'll watch film, watch my film on myself, evaluate myself, and that's how I prepare.
Did you really have to adjust to the physicality from college to the NFL so far? Was that a surprise, or is it just business as usual for you as far as being in pads now?
I'll say it's just business as usual. The guys are definitely a lot stronger, a lot smarter, better technique. But in terms of physicality, it's just, football.
Yeah. When it comes down to you guys as rookie class, man, from top to bottom, every single one of you guys have been contributing just day to day, whether you have a good day, whether Traylon has a good day. Like, is there an inside competition between you guys to say, hey, look, we're not just going to sit on the back burner. We're going to be a part of this team and actually contribute to it also?
Yeah, that's our goal coming in. Everybody wants to find their role. That's one thing Rabel talks about. They were trying to during this camp. Everybody needs to define their role. So every day for us is just, we're just trying to go out and just flash on film at least once or twice and make sure they see you, make sure they see that you're doing good things. And that's just been our, mindset as a rookie class really coming in, just make the best of our opportunities.
Tight end Chig Okonkwo joining us here on the line on J Mart and Ramon. Chig, how is it working with Ryan Tannehill? He's a quarterback that, as we've gotten to know him over the last few seasons, he's better when he has a tight end he can rely on, especially one that's an athlete. And, of course, you've got Austin Hooper that's been in the league that I would also like to know how you've been working alongside him. But how has it been with Ryan Tannehill so far, just getting familiar and getting comfortable?
Yeah, man, Ryan's a great dude. He's just he's very, very smart. So it's like once he tells you something like how he needs like a route to be ran, it's like you just understand it like from his point of view. He like a lot of times he likes to make sure that we know like what's going on in his mind, so that we can build that chemistry. So it's definitely been a pleasure working with him so far. He's definitely helped me a ton with getting success.
What about Austin Hooper, a guy that has had success and then kind of moved into a different role in Cleveland, and now maybe he's going to be asked to jump back into catching more passes and things like that? How has Austin been in terms of just kind of being a guy that you can look at and say, all right, you've been here, you've done this, now what can you teach me?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping that he will help me with every day. Just every day when I see him like run around, I'll ask him what he saw there, like why did he choose to run it that way, and stuff like that. Just as he knows how to do those little sort of things to get open in the league. He knows how to get open in the league against these defenders. So I just ask him to really just study what he does, all the little things that he does in his craft to win routes. It's like that's one thing I'm definitely looking at him so far, and I ask him a ton of questions.
One thing we know is camp is hard. I don't care if it's high school football camp, college football camp, or now that you're in the NFL football camp too. Every day is a battle where you got a one-on-ones. When it's tight ends versus outside linebackers, man, who's that one guy that you can't take a play off against? It's like, man, for me in camp, it was Cam Hayward. Like, God, I got to go against this guy every day. Who is the guy that really challenges you? Is it Bud? Is it Harold? Is it Rashad Weaver? Which one of those guys, when you line up, you say, man, I got to go right now or I'm going to get embarrassed?
Man, it's literally that's everybody, honestly, like everybody. You got to, if you're not going, bro, like they're going to embarrass you because, it's a grown man's game that we're all trying to feed our families. So everybody goes hard. Everybody's talented. Everybody's good. So it's like when you line up, man, it's like, it don't matter which one of them it is. It's like you got to go.
I'll never forget my first time going against one-on-ones against the vets. Was that the biggest eye-opener for you? Look, this isn't a freshman. This isn't a sophomore, from Florida anymore. This is a guy that's been in the league for a few years. Did that reality kind of hit you early?
Oh, it definitely did. It definitely did. Like, especially like the first time I went up against Kevin Byard, like, I'm thinking like, damn, like this is the guy I got to beat if I want to be able to beat other safeties in the league. And just having that mindset of just knowing that you can do it, and just knowing that like it's like it has to be done. Like if you can't beat him, like there's no way I'm going to get open against any other great safety in the league. So I just take that challenge every day as like an honor, and just very excited that I'm able to go against all these great players every day.
Chig, how are you approaching your first preseason game on Thursday against Baltimore? Mentally, how are you feeling going into the week? How excited are you to finally put on that uniform in front of people and see what you've got against some guys that you haven't been able to work with day after day?
Yeah, honestly, it still hasn't hit me, man, just because, like, camp is, like, really the focus right now. And honestly, we're just taking it one day at a time, so it still hasn't been hitting me yet. I think I'm going to prepare for it just like any other game I've ever prepared for. I'll just make sure I know all of my stuff. I don't really think there's obviously that much film to watch right now because, there's obviously no games have been played, but definitely going to study up against some of the guys that I'll be playing against in that game and just make sure that I'm on my stuff.
What's so cool about this, though, is you actually get an opportunity to go back to where you played college ball at. Maybe some of the guys that, you played college with are still there in Maryland. Are you kind of excited for that? I never forget coming back to Tennessee. I wasn't actually in Knoxville, but the idea that I'm playing in the state that I actually went to college in, that's got to be exciting for you.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And usually every year in camp, like at Maryland, we went to a Ravens preseason game. So I assumed that they would come to this one. So that would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
So every question's been football. Every answer's been football. We get that. When football is not what Chig Okonkwo is paying attention to, what do you do? Like how are you enjoying Nashville so far? What do you do in your spare time? What makes you happy?
Man, whenever I have spare time right now, just hang out in my apartment on the off days and chill. Honestly, just chill, watch YouTube videos, watch anime, and that's honestly all I do on these off days.
A non-football question too: is YB really better?
young boy, better, man.
Music artist, is that your number one go-to? What's on your game day playlist? I know Young Boy is there. Who else is making the playlist?
Man, it's definitely Young Boy, and then it's just everybody else. It's a mixture of everybody else.
That's funny because I'm like, I see this all the time, and I'm like, he really has an insane fan base. It's kind of cool to see you being part of it. So YB is better. Too.
So I heard you say
YB
anime.
better.
I wasn't expecting that. So you're a big anime guy, huh?
Yeah, huge anime fan.
Like older stuff, new stuff. I'm not an anime guy. I know of it, but why does anime hit you the way it does?
Man, I've been watching it since I was a kid. honestly, like since I was like literally like 7 years old, and it's just like as a kid, the stuff in the shows. I mean, I swear it inspires kids, man. I swear every kid should watch anime. It's like you're watching it as a kid, you hear the dude go, no matter what happens, I'll never give up. Like I'm gonna make it through this, blah blah blah. I'm gonna achieve my goal. And like watching over years, it's like seeing him achieve his goal, like through like, all the hard work that they put in. From a kid, I would just always love that. I would just love watching like Goku and Naruto and like all them guys fight and go to work.
So if we call you Chig Okonkwo, you're probably going to be all right with that based on.
Chig Okonkwo. I'm with it.
So what's the go-to food, Chig? We got to ask you this. We don't have Ron Slay in the studio, but if I didn't ask you about food, he's probably going to knock me upside my head tomorrow. So what's the go-to food for you when you're not on a cheat day? What is it that you're hitting up?
Baked beans.
On a cheat day, oh man, maybe like a chicken sandwich, like a fried chicken sandwich, or wings.
Wings. Can't go wrong with wings.
What's the sauce with wings that you like?
Lemon pepper.
I'm usually a barbecue.
I was not expecting barbecue. I was expecting lemon pepper or buffalo. Was not or hot.
Lemon
honey or
pepper might have
something.
been where I was going. Well,
Yeah.
Chig, man, we really appreciate some of the time. We know how important the week is and how important this time is. We're looking forward to watching you. We're looking forward to the season. I know you are too, brother. All the best, and hopefully we'll catch up with you during the season.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Indeed. That's Chig Okonkwo, anime fan.
Anime.
Chig Goku. You heard it here first. I'm going with it from now on.
Could not get into anime.
Me either. You'd think that I would, but no.
That cycle kind of missed me, so I was always out on it. I don't know. It was kind of weird for me.
I mean, I had a bunch of friends that were into Dragon Ball and some of that stuff, but missed it, and I'm happy about it.
It's an addiction. It's like any other thing that you know and love. Like you can dive into. I see a bunch of grown men that's like, yeah, anime. I'm like, okay,
a lot of the reason for that is because they grew up just like Chig did. People are like, well, gaming's for kids. No, it's not. Gaming's actually more for adults and kids now because those kids have become adults, and that was the first generation of kids that became adults. It's not like 50 years ago. Your grandfather didn't play games because they didn't exist for him to play in the first place. Yeah. So things begin to age up. Mm-hmm. Anime begins to age up, except for Pokemon and some of that.
Which is why they release Toy Story when they do too, right? Because we were kids and now adults.
Yeah. Now who's going to Pixar films? Most of the people like our age that still enjoy a lot of that stuff. By the way, Slay's right. I like barbecue too. I love a good barbecue.
See, that's the thing. Ron doesn't
Sweet Baby
like spicy
Ray's?
though. That's the thing. He doesn't like spicy.
I don't either.
So I'm just like barbecue wings don't do it for me.
We appreciate Chig. That dude is ready. He sounds dialed in football wise.
Yes.
That's a good thing. Looking forward to seeing him on Thursday. We'll come back after the headlines, talk more because we got 2 more hours of a program. It's Jay Martin and Mo, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, so don't be surprised this week to see the Titans ball out, but also to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds because they're going to take advantage of the most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20% below Genesis everyday price. That's right. The vault's open. Genesis selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices now for a very limited time. They're the world standard, the GIA is in diamond grading, certifying accuracy, documenting quality so you can buy with confidence. Every engagement ring at Genesis included. Half carat up to 20 carat stones, all shapes, rounds, princess cuts, emerald cuts, cushion cuts, ovals. Never been a better time to get an extreme value price on a GIA certified diamond perfectly set in a gorgeous engagement ring. Hurry in for the best selection. Genesis Diamonds GIA Diamond Extravaganza. Save an extra 20% on these rare, precious diamond rings. Now for a limited time, 1 per customer, please. Exclusively at my jewelry store and yours, Genesis Diamonds.
It is 8:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Titans training camp continues. The team hits the practice field today at 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from St. Thomas Sports Park at 10. Traylon Burks will join Buck at 11:20 this morning. Running back Kareem Hunt, he's seeking a contract extension and has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, but the team, as of now, has told him no. Hunt, who is in the final year of a 2-year, $12 million deal, had been sitting out practice but returned to team drills on Sunday. After nearly a 2-hour weather delay, 6-time IndyCar champ Scott Dixon won the second annual Music City Grand Prix. It is Dixon's second win of the season. Also moved him to second all-time in IndyCar wins with 53. And the Mets continue their dominance over the Braves. New York beat Atlanta 5-2 yesterday. Jacob deGrom struck out 12, carried a perfect game into the 6th inning in just his second start of the season. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Third hour of the program. J Mart and Ramon here, 104.5 The Zone. Lifted up by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. The podcast is also J Mart and Ramon, wherever you get your podcasts. You missed our conversation with rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo that we had to end the last hour. You can go relive that there. If you're hanging out on Zone TV, we appreciate it. As they all tell you when you go in there, hit the like button.
Yeah, hit that like button.
Takes like 5 seconds.
What's wrong with y'all? Less than that.
Takes 5 seconds to look over at it, move the mouse over to it if you don't know where it is.
Interesting answer from him when I asked him, who's the hardest to go up against on the D line, and
he didn't want to upset anybody, so he said everybody.
Did. But you see where he went to, though, lets you know his mindset of what type of player he is.
Bayard.
He went that route. I'll let you know his role is probably going to be through the air, which is a good thing also, Jay. And of course, he's going to have to block those outside backers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a part of his job, too. But his biggest, goal is to beat Bayard. And that, I think, is very commendable for a young guy, man. But it also, of course, I'll tell anybody, you watch a practice, you see a practice, you hear players talking, listen to what they actually say. He's saying he needs to beat Kevin Bayard, which lets you know that the passing game for him is a very strong suit in his toolbox, man. So I really want to see what him and Malik look like working. And not just that, when it comes to the regular season, what is Tannehill going to be able to do with a young guy? And that's, to me, the biggest question mark of this team. The run game always take care of itself. Is what is the actual passing game going to look like? And it's good to hear him be encouraged by the fact that Bayard is my goal. And he mentioned if he can't beat Bayard, then he won't make it far against some of these greats in the league. Let me tell you this, too, and I should have told him, not everybody's Kevin Bayard. Not everybody's the Honey Badger. Not everybody's Jamal Adams or anything else like that. If you get Bayard 1 or 2 times, look, you just know you can compete. Everything else take care of itself from there on out.
So if you missed it, here is Chig Okonkwo with us and what he said about Kevin Bayard.
They're like, it's like it has to be done. Like, if you can't beat him, like, there's no way I'm going to get open against, any other great safety in the league. So I just take that challenge every day as like an honor, and just very excited that I'm able to go against all these great players every day.
That's a great answer, and it tells you, look, he's probably between the hash marks, and he's going to be down the field dealing with safeties, which is why, of course, you asked him about Harold and Rashad. You asked him about linebackers that might be stepping back some and all that kind of stuff. But look, he knows. We know. We talked about how Kevin Bayard doesn't get talked about enough for how great he actually is. Mm-hmm. And I do I want to say this out loud?
Go ahead, Jay. You got it.
I think Bayard's going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. He'll have a good shot for it. This is the part too where the playoff wins for sure. Definitely got to get deeper into the playoffs so more eyes can get on you. Showing up in primetime games.
Yes. Like they've got to win. They got to win in crucial spots. But
in crucial spots.
Usually when they win, Bayard's the reason why.
Yep. 100%.
Usually when they play in primetime, Bayard's done something.
Yep.
If they can find success in the postseason, I don't think it's going to be a question because I think he's got the respect of everybody in the league that plays. Everybody knows how good 31 is.
Yeah.
They know you've got to account for him
100%.
or he's going to victimize you.
Except
Carson
Deion.
Wentz maybe didn't, but
Deion didn't so much at first.
I said playing in the league. I changed it because of Deion would have taken him at Jackson State, though. I can guarantee you that.
Apparently, they got a stud, the one that Saban wanted, the number one player in the country last year.
Yeah.
Kid's playing both sides of the ball efficiently, too.
I watched Kevin's entire career at MTSU, and he just was always around the ball
You
or the
knew it?
ball came to him. Oh, I knew he was going to play in
You
the
knew
league.
it, Shay.
Now, to be playing at the level he's playing at right now, didn't necessarily see that.
His instincts and just where he finds himself.
Yeah.
It's not this whole like, man, he just always seems to be around the ball. How lucky? No.
Yeah.
No.
That's interesting you bring that up, too, Shave, as far as like knowing he at MTSU, respectfully, was always around. You always heard his name. And I'll say this, too. This is where the advantage of going to a bigger school kind of helps elevate you a little bit higher. Bayard went second round, right? So you knew the talent was there. It wasn't a matter of can he play, but imagine him at a Kentucky or a Georgia or an Alabama LSU. Like, imagine the fanfare he would have had if he'd have played at that level at a bigger college. He'd have been an easy first-round draft pick if he did that at MTSU. And good on the Titans scouting department, too, for going to find a guy right in your backyard that's doing the things that he's been doing for years now in the league. What is this, going into year 6 or 7 for Bayard? I think it's 6 or 7. But to your point, 2 first-team All-Pros, 2 Pro Bowls, 2 Jay. He get 1 or 2 more of those, and he only checks the box if it's first-team All-Pro. That's making
I would say this.
HOF like
we know this.
conversation.
If he's playing in New York, he's already being talked about like that.
Oh, bigger market, man.
So that's why it's important that he wins and performs in prime time and all that,
time.
so that people know who he is.
Yep.
Because we're in this box where we know how good he is.
Yep.
But a lot of football fans don't know.
Yeah.
People in the league do, but there's a lot of people that don't, that he doesn't get the pub that.
The casual watcher, you're saying. With the casual watcher, they know Aaron Donald.
I mean, look at
know.
Trevon Diggs, right?
By the way, there's some question marks on him.
Yeah, well, dude, he's a boom or bust guy. He's either going to pick you off or he's going to get mossed. It's one of the two, basically. I'll take Bayard all day over him, but he's going to be the one that gets talked about more.
And I'm about to go check and see again. Social media is a rough place to be at, man. If you're not just, if you look at everything that's on there, if you find ways and to believe what people say about you, it is a rough place to be. And there was a clip of Trevon Diggs out recently where he got burnt in practice by a rookie. He got smoked in practice, which it happens. It happens. You get beat, you get put on your back, you get cussed out by your coaches, you get dogged out. That's why I was explaining to Chig, like, I know it's hard, but you got to go back day to day. Trevon Diggs had that clip out, and people just
ran with it, man. Ran to daylight with it.
You know what he did? He deleted his Twitter because of it. A marketing tool for a guy like that. Maybe he put it in remission, Jay. Maybe he set it down, delete my account. I think you have like 30 days before it become permanently deleted. But for a guy like himself to delete Twitter when as good as he's been,
Best thing he could have done.
I agree.
Thing he could, but
I totally
Shay,
agree.
you know where I'm at with this type of stuff, though. Let it. They're gonna talk about you regardless. To me, I'm thinking of Twitter for a guy like him is a revenue stream. It's a way for him to get paid.
I don't know if you delete it. I just think maybe you don't do it. You just let somebody else run it. Pay somebody else to
For
be
him?
a brand manager for you.
Oh, there's all kind of agency that'll do that.
And you can let them do, because there's a lot of athletes that don't run their own Twitter.
No.
A lot of celebrities that don't even know how to go to Twitter.
even
Have no
know
idea
about it.
No time. I mean, but good for. Here's the thing.
I admire it.
Did you hear the story about Mitchell Trubisky the first year in Chicago?
No, did not.
Okay, so he's getting killed.
Yeah.
They're getting killed for
Yeah.
struggles early on and all this other stuff. So he asked that all the televisions in the facility just be turned off because they would be on NFL Network and stuff. And he's like, I don't want anybody on this team to even care enough to look up at that screen and see somebody dogging them out.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, I was like, is it soft, is it weak, or is it just focus?
I heard about that.
Because Trubisky didn't seem like he was lacking confidence, didn't seem like he was in a bad place. It just seemed like, I don't need this message, so I'm just going to eliminate it. What does the Peloton instructor say? You inhale with the nose, you breathe out with the mouth.
Yeah.
Inhale the confidence, exhale anything you don't need.
Yeah.
Basically is what it is. If you are sensitive to those messages, then get off Twitter. AJ?
You can legitimately tune it out or mute certain words. Like you can filter it out where you don't have every hateful thing. He got smoked by a kid by the name of Simi Fehoko. And he beat him, he topped him, caught the ball at the end, and scored a touchdown on Trevon Diggs. And he deleted his Twitter.
Like I said, I just had somebody else run it.
I'm with you. I thought it was kind of soft. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, if he did it because he was because he was all in his feels, because 12-year-olds were sending him smoke because he was getting destroyed in practice or whatever like that.
CD Lamb smoked him too.
Well, CeeDee Lamb's gonna smoke a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. And of course, for a guy like him, it's been, he, like you said, boom or bust. He's been boom or bust a lot.
But I'm always going to defend anybody that decides Twitter's not a place they want to be.
I'm with it.
It's the reasoning behind it where you're just kind of like, all right, well, you did it because people are coming at your neck, not necessarily because it's going to be better for your life.
I'm a firm believer that if you can be high at the high times, getting that praise, you got to be able to accept whatever comes on the back. That's my only point of it all.
Absolutely right.
And he's letting people that he'll never meet in person affect his day-to-day. Like, this is a marketing stream for him. This is exposure for a guy like that. Was a first-team All-Pro. What was it, 7 or 8 interceptions last year? Like, he burst on the scene.
Yes.
You can't let this affect your – that's me.
But you mentioned the revenue stream aspect. If he's playing well, he can restart that account, and it won't start at the number he had before, but plenty of people will get on board, and it won't take that long to build it back up anyway.
I mean, nobody's going to care long term.
He got 30 days, I feel like, to get back on. And I'm not asking him to get on. It's for his mental peace and everything else around it. Fine, cool. But he is on the scene with a lot of stuff this past year, and I'm like,
he accepted a lot of praise. If you're going to take the praise, you got to take the slings.
Everybody gets got. That is a part of it, especially in this sport, all sports, man. So, yeah.
And he's a boom or bust guy, so he's always going to have this. So you better get used to it now because he takes a lot of risks. Same way Marcus Peters took a lot of risks.
Who were we talking about in the 6 o'clock that had a long write-up on him? Eli Apple.
Yeah. So Ty Dunn's longest long-form piece that go long is about Eli.
Come on.
Eli basically telling the haters, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
God, that's one thing I tell my kids and kids I coach. Look, don't celebrate when you get a touchdown and you're going to cry when you get mossed. Like, which one are we going to be? We got to be the same way no matter what, man. So,
and everybody that's played, and I haven't, but I know this, everybody that's ever played a sport at that level, there's going to be a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. There's going to be a bad day.
Bad month.
That's right.
Okay.
615-737-1045 is the telephone number. 737-1045. Why am on Quora looking up, is it okay for adults to watch Naruto? And the answer is yes, it's an adult show.
Is it?
So look at Chig Okonkwo, maybe adding something to my list. I might need to try this out.
Let me know how
I'm going to tell you a description about it when we come back. It's interesting. Also, I made my daughter cry yesterday.
It's been a good dad right there.
I was doing something that should have made me dad of the year. Toddler said nope.
You did a good thing, Jason. Let me tell you.
Went full on Jordan Peele. Just nope. We'll be right back. Jay Martin, 1045 The Zone. Hey, I want to talk to you about foundations. Obviously, your family, your friends, the people that can support you. But what about the foundation of your home and making sure it is supported properly? Because no quicker way to devalue your home than for the foundation to just not be what you want. If you're seeing cracked bricks, if you're seeing all those kinds of things, that's something that you probably can't fix on your own. You need experts, and you need experts that you can trust, not to come out and say, boy, the whole thing's screwed, man. You just need to drop this entire house. It's going to cost us about $800,000. Like, no. You need somebody you can trust to tell you what's actually going on, or sometimes what's not. Maybe it's not as serious as you think. United Structural Systems is the only call to place. They've been in Middle Tennessee for over 25 years. Integrity and reputation off the charts. A+ with a Better Business Bureau. Locally owned, not a franchise. They are problem solvers. They customize solutions for homeowners depending on your specific needs. They give you a detailed free estimate before you have to make any kind of a decision, so that's free. And you don't pay a dime until the work's done. They're going to make sure you're happy. There's no down payment here. There's financing available, lifetime warranties, and that includes transferable warranties, repairs guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. It's real simple. USS takes the stress out of home repair. We know how stressful it is. 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275, or online at USSTN.com. United Structural Systems. Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Lucas just came in
and got some food, man.
Lucas had fun at the Grand Prix.
We had to fill him up with some 8th and roast real quick, man, because he is low. I don't know what Buck's gonna do today.
Oh, Lucas had himself a weekend.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, get you some coffee, get you something. He tried the Pop-Tart, and I finished the Pop-Tart. Jason, it's phenomenal.
Abby's gonna be disappointed because this is the second time it's been here, and I haven't gotten a
you
bite
haven't
yet.
tried the Pop-Tart. It is a home. I keep bragging on it, okay? That thing is legit. And the way Lucas ate it, I don't know if it was out of necessity or if it was
needed
just
something,
good.
man.
Did you see him hair shave?
I think it was a bit of a hangover cure.
No, you don't. You don't say.
He is hurting right now. I'm glad that he was talking about the Grand Prix this past weekend. Said it was really awesome. He said he probably walked about 10 miles. He said he's not actually.
Looks like he just finished that walk.
He's not mentally hurt. He said,
You know what we discovered, Ramon?
what?
Yeah.
He said he's physically hurting right now. And I'm like, dog.
You know what happened to him yesterday?
What?
That's what happens when you drink too much.
He is. Said he got caught on the boat this weekend.
You know how slow he's moving today?
What?
Yeah, I know. How
How
many
many
of these
more
can we
you
do?
got?
How many of these can we do,
What you
please?
got?
Give me another question and answer it with a drop, please. In 3, 2, 1.
I'll say this, what do you think about his performance yesterday, guys?
Okay. A little bit of a reach, but we'll
I
take it because we're trying to
I
keep it
do know
going.
one thing he did do yesterday.
Who, Lucas, we're still speaking of?
Yeah.
Said he went on a boat with free
And
beer.
hey, he was acting. He was whining. He was complaining because he was low. So what would Jeff Jarrett say? There it is.
You know what else happened yesterday by the end of the day?
Luckily, he got a old lady already, man, because he is.
Yeah, it might be old lady in terms of past. She might have said, I'm done with this
Might be
mess.
done with him.
Hey, by the way, I think that might be what Devontae Adams did. When you did you hear the Aaron Rodgers audio?
Oh, I missed
when
it.
he was talking about the ayahuasca and the experience
no, I
that he
didn't.
had?
I just took his word.
You haven't actually heard the audio?
No, I
Shay,
didn't
can you
hear his
find the audio?
What the heck did he say now?
Dude,
He was going on.
you need to hear everything that he decided to tell us about himself
Aaron Rodgers?
in this whole, had this experience.
Why is he speaking like this?
He was on this well, that's how he talks, unfortunately. But you need to hear this legitimately and you need to make sure that right there is not in your hand as you're listening to it. Because when you get to the end of it, you're going to be like, yep, Devontae, I'd be in Vegas too, man. Legitimately would.
Aaron Rodgers, did he admit that he's
You got
like
it?
a big
All right,
druggie?
listen. Just listen to this.
It
Ramon.
can't be this bad.
Listen to this.
It was a very deep and meaningful couple nights ceremony, and I came back and knew that I was never going to be the same. And like you said, it doesn't. You don't do that, and then for me, I didn't do that and think, oh, I'm never playing football again. No, it gave me a deep and meaningful appreciation for life. I really feel like that set me on my course to be able to go back in to my job and have a different perspective on things, and then to be way more free at work, as a leader, as a teammate, as a friend, as a lover. And I really feel like that experience paved the way for me to have the best season of my career.
I don't need to know that your experience made you a better lover, Aaron Rodgers. And Devontae Adams is in the locker room. Is these the conversations? I'd be in. You would have to imagine at some point, Devontae's just I'm done with this. I got to get out of here.
He said
What is he talking about?
I wouldn't tighten up Jacari's. He's starting to sound like a cult leader. Legitimately, he might have a refuge somewhere full of Aaron Rodgers doppelgangers. It's the way I kind of view it.
That is just
He said, I never knew what he said. I knew I was never going to be the same. Well, what type of quarterback are you going to be? Do you really care about playing it right
See,
now?
that right there is the point that I've come to where I'm just if I'm a Packers fan, I'm I need you to care about winning games I don't need you to, I'm in a better place. I don't, all right, be in a better place. Do you know how much we paid you?
Yeah, man.
Do you know how much money you commanded from our franchise?
Yeah.
And how you've held them at ransom for the last couple of years, basically in the offseason, shown up in the Kevin versus the Chili shirt.
Yeah.
And then come in with a Con Air outfit on and all this. This is what I told Torres Saturday night.
As a lover.
He looks like he's a football player going through a midlife crisis. Because of how he's acting and stuff. He's like getting young. It's like all of a sudden he's got a Maserati. Of course, he probably already does. But he's got like a Maserati, even though he lives in like a cul-de-sac with a $200,000 house. Like all these, he is behaving like somebody who's going to win one Super Bowl and that's it. He's not looking to me like a contender at all.
I don't know what he is right now. Like these excursions that he go off on, the ladies that he's dated publicly that we know about, and just the way he's held Green Bay at bay for so long, for years now, as far as what he wants to do. Like, you get this year out of Aaron Rodgers, I think it's time to move on at that point because they got to decide.
As a lover.
Why did we have to just find that? That's the part where I'm like Devontae's listening and be like, he's sitting next to Derek Carr when the audio is playing, and he's like, this is why I'm here, bro.
As a lover.
Because I'm getting tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers, the lover.
As a lover.
Why did he mention he was a better lover?
But think about how because he's Aaron Rodgers.
Because he got high.
On
That's why he was
ayahuasca.
talking about it.
So
I can't understand.
think about how this whole thing has gone, right? It was Olivia Munn. That's your celebrity, right?
Danica.
Normal. Then it's Danica Patrick. Then it's Shailene Woodley.
As a lover.
And she's got him,
Wrapped.
out in Denver in the woods with Miles Teller,
Wrapped.
hanging out and all this stuff. Then then that ends, and now he's with a witch.
Well, he skipped OTAs and went to Hawaii and skinny dipped, didn't he? Whatever that was. Remember?
Yeah,
he
that's
was
what
with
I'm talking.
Shailene.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When he was with Miles Teller and all of them somewhere in the middle of nowhere, like this has been building. So what's the next step after a witch,
Drugs.
psychedelic tea, and all of this kind of like? What's the next thing there, Lizard King? Because Aaron Rodgers is now Jim Morrison.
He's just far out.
Just
What drugs did Aaron Rodgers take?
he needs to take more and he talked about, this has put me in a different place where I can go do my job. Then maybe go have one of those experiences and drink some more ayahuasca in January so you can not crap out in the playoffs again like you have pretty much every year for the last more than half decade.
Ayahuasca. What is it? It is a plant-based psychedelic and affect the person's emotions, sense of time, and feeling
I just
of
looked up,
reality.
did Steve Mariucci age 20 years in the last month?
Is that her? It actually looks good still, Jay.
Dude, he's all full. Like last time I saw him, he still had it's gray hair, gray
probably stopped
eyebrows.
Yeah, he probably stopped dyeing it.
He
That's
stopped
what it is.
painting.
Yeah, he
No
stopped
more just for
painting.
men?
Nah, he's good to go. I think he looks good now.
He looks old.
He looks like an old coach.
He's an old coach.
Exactly what he looks like. It said this ayahuasca can affect a person's emotions, sense of time, feeling, and reality.
Here's the time I need you to worry about Aaron Rodgers. I need you to worry about 15 minutes first quarter, 15 minutes second quarter, 15 minutes after halftime, and 15 minutes in the fourth quarter. I need you to care even more about it when we get to the month of January. So you need to look at that on your calendar so that, I know the Titans lost as a 1 seed, but the Packers did too, and most people had them in the Super Bowl.
Is this an actual drug too? Like I'm really like I'm really shocked that he speaks this openly about it.
I would have thought it would have violated the policy, but maybe it doesn't.
Because it
I don't
sounds
know.
like shrooms to me. And I feel like shrooms are like on the do not take list when it comes down to NFL stuff. But Aaron Rodgers says, screw it. I'm A-Rod.
I'm looking it up. Ayahuasca.
Oh my God.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Banned substance.
No.
All right, Heavy.com says he may face reprimand for drug use. Peter King says NFL likely won't do anything about this.
Because they
It's Aaron
can't test in
Rodgers.
the offseason, though, too.
That's
You
probably
only
true.
test.
So it's got
during-
DMT in it.
and DMT is, what do they call it? Like licking the frog?
It's
That's
a
what Tyson did
hallucinogen.
speak about.
It's illegal in the U.S. That's the first thing, and it's banned by the NFL. So Peter King reached out to NFL and said, "All right, what's going on?" NFL very likely not going to punish Rodgers because he didn't test positive.
Yeah, they can't test them in the offseason. When you're on break, there is no drug testing.
It's nearly impossible, by the way, DMT is to detect in blood and urine tests.
What about admitting it, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess that's inadmissible. I don't know.
Aaron is out here, man. First, what was it last year when he told everybody that he had gotten the COVID shots? I was immunized. What was it? Immunized.
Now he said that he did this before last year, right?
I thought he did it this
Or no. He said he revealed that this ayahuasca experience paved the way for the best season of his career. He consumed it in South America prior to winning. Okay, it's before 2020. So the last 2 years where he's won the MVPs, he's crediting ayahuasca and that experience for producing 2 of the best seasons of his career, thanks to a change in mindset and mental health improvement. I don't think it's a coincidence. It's the universe bringing things to happen when they're supposed to happen. Good Lord. Shut up.
I'm going to be real with y'all. I can't believe he's getting away with all of this stuff. I really can't. I feel like anybody.
To Schedule 1 drug, just like marijuana, heroin, LSD, ecstasy.
It is?
No approved medical use in the U.S. Illegal, considered a Schedule 1 drug.
Wow. He just admitted to the world. It's one thing to do it in the shadows, but golly, he just told everybody about that. You know how high or how much the exposure to this is about to go up now because Aaron Rodgers said he did it. It's going to be one of those drugs that hit heavy over here because of that. He just admitted it, though. Wow.
It is amazing.
Any other quarterback in the league, I don't think gets away with this.
Oh, no, there's a few.
There's
a few.
I can't see Stafford getting away with it like that. I can't see Lamar getting away with it like that. I can't see Patrick getting away. I can't see Kirk Cousins getting away with it.
Maybe not Kirk. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think because it's not like he said he's on meth. So it hits differently. I think it feels different. Some people are like, oh, he's taking some weird tea.
I see what people are saying, as far as like it helps with mental, stability and just depression. I've heard that, but.
And maybe, I don't know if they're doing, what is it, statute of limitations? I took it 2 years ago. Had an experience in South America. Like, I don't know how that works in terms of.
Well, that's the enema thing he had too, remember?
I tried to forget, but
I need that level of not giving a you-know-what, Jay. Just give me that level. Give me Aaron Rodgers' level of, yeah, whatever. Because that's basically how he's living his life right now in front of the world and letting everybody know. Goodness.
Weirdly enough, it was Danica that was part of the experience.
Was it?
So it wasn't actually when he went even worse.
Well, at least she retired from racing, didn't she?
Yeah. In Peru with Danica, they had that experience.
Ryan Tannehill couldn't do that and get away with it.
Probably not. If he admitted to doing it 2 or 3 years ago, I just don't know how they would adjudicate it, but it is very odd. It definitely shows that Aaron Rodgers just acts like he walks on a cloud.
You know what everybody in the locker room probably saying about it? Man, that fool crazy. That's exactly what.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm like, Devontae Adams is like, man, I am so tired of this.
For real. Can you imagine the dude that's supposed to help get you paid and help you get to the playoffs and win games and extend your career?
Like he comes and sits down next to you. You can imagine, right? Because Devontae famously, that press conference where he's like, oh, you mean this play? And he broke it down because he's one of the smartest guys in the league.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Devontae like sitting there at his locker. Aaron Rodgers comes down. He's like, what do you think the meaning of the sun and moon are? And Devontae's like, get me the hell out of here.
Please. In a hurry.
Right now.
That's the reason he was flirting with Derek Carr.
On the bullet train.
God, I couldn't imagine. Could not imagine me saying stuff like this publicly. Like, I even hesitate sometimes saying I like to have a drink or two. Just because, like, you're supposed to at least not let everybody in.
Keith Bullock didn't have a problem telling you about it, though.
Well, he said, I drink my beers. That's tough. Good for him.
But I agree with you. Look, there's nothing quite like QB1 privilege.
Whew.
And Aaron Rodgers acts like
QB all.
615-737-1045. Cousin Joey has a comment when we come back. What do you think of ayahuasca and Aaron Rodgers on a podcast also dropping in, by the way, I'm also a significant lover. Like, okay, buddy. Again, dude, I'm just trying to play cards. Devontae Adams over here
Trying to win games.
hanging out with MVS. They're just sitting here talking about the receiver room, talking about the DBs, talking about life, maybe talking about Naruto. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers sits down. What question do you think Aaron Rodgers could have asked Devontae that led to the trade? We'll throw that one out there. What kind of question would you expect Aaron Rodgers to ask Devontae Adams sitting down? Because I bet it's not football related.
It's definitely not football
This
related.
man is Bill Walton, but he's still in the NFL. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. Yeah, that's Jim Morrison, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers. Dude, even the way he talks.
The music.
He's the Lizard King at this point. And I hear that, and again, I'm Devontae Adams. I'm like, yep, this is why I'm in a Raiders uniform. I've had enough of this. Enough of this.
You got a cousin Danny put in the chat. A-Rod, wait, you've never gotten an enema? Devontae, what?
Yeah. My knee's hurting. Hey, I got some essential oils and crystals. They'll change your world.
Can you hear it? That music was perfect for his voice.
I said that's why I said it reminds me of Jim Morrison at this point. Like he's this close to
the best producer in the world.
Nah, he's not close to that.
The best producer in the world.
It's his voice and the way he talks that makes that music underneath it work.
He's perfect for Jeopardy.
I just look, man. Jim Morrison was lead singer of the Doors, and Devontae Adams took the nearest door to get the hell on out of Green Bay because he was getting tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers' consummate lover after ayahuasca.
So who's winning the NFC North then?
Vikings. The Beeve in Mount Juliet. Beeve, what's up?
What's up, Beeve?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey. Good morning.
Morning. So I was actually telling the screener, back when I was in college, I had a couple of, hippie guys in my class that were into that kind of stuff, and one of them actually went on to get a science degree, kind of chemical science, something like that.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to work at a laboratory where they would study those kinds of things and how they affect the brain and all that kind of stuff. And really was kind of, I guess, not trying to get too deep and crazy about it. He said basically what the main ingredient in it is that DMT is also a chemical that your body produces itself in a very similar way, almost the exact way. And it is kind of a chemical that happens when you dream. So what happens when you take it, you're basically in a walking dream state. Basically, you're sleepwalking while you're awake.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you're told, it's going to be this spiritual journey. He said people would be told that. So when they would have it, they would find this deep meaning in everything they saw. So like, people say they have dreams and that, they wake up the next day and know how to dream and had a meaning. So you're told this before you go and do it all that. So like, say you see a cat walk across the room, all of a sudden this cat has a meaning.
Wow.
It's pretty much it. Like I took this. I mean, it's not everybody, but like they seed you into it, especially when you go over like he did to these places and say it's going to be this journey and all this. You're basically just kind of walk for what he said, for basically like in the scientific way of explaining it, you're basically just walking around dreaming. And when you're told it's, a sort of experience like that, you find meaning in basically everything you see and just create it for yourself.
Huh.
So it's basically whatever you want it to be. He said it was a lot like back in the early days, the Native Americans, they would do those, journeys where they would go out in the cactus and the peyote buttons. He said it's a very similar thing like that. So I don't know if that maybe kind of sheds some light on just kind of how nonsensical it is. Some people find a lot of deep meaning in it, like the Native Americans did and tribes in other countries, but a lot of people have really novelized it in a way that really over kind of exaggerates its purpose. He said a lot of times when they would speak with people and those sorts of things, kind of asking them how it went with them. So I hope that made some sort of sense. I tried to explain it the best I could.
So basically your friend is saying it's becoming mainstream now and they're kind of ruining the actual effects of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know mainstream. That's a pretty wild thing to do mainstream, but it's kind of become, I guess, kind of like they're saying about the Jim Morrison days when they were forward. It kind of became like this cult little hip thing people would do.
Yeah.
When they got to a point where they felt, they were this artistic level, like they've reached, some people, that side of the brain kind of go to these levels where they want to take it deeper. And a lot of times that's really just kind of where it comes from.
Yeah. Just take your team deeper into the playoffs. How about that?
I'm high.
Yeah. I felt like I learned a lot from the Beef right there.
I'm high.
Basically what happened. Yeesh. That's a lot to unlock right there, Jay.
Cousin Joey in Cross Plains. Joey?
What's up, Joe?
Good morning.
Follow that call up now.
I was like, when I hear it, I think of, like Bob Marley and reggae or some Pink Floyd underneath it. Really that, psychedelic kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, earlier, and also, earlier Chig was talking about anime, and there was a show I remember from when I was younger, and it was called Zoids, Zoids. And that might be one if y'all passed along to him or even y'all.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was, these animal forms. It was almost like AI, but they could also add a little cockpit on them for the humans to get in. But they would switch out like body armor and kind of fight each other and everything. It was actually a really cool show back then.
Right. Okay. I hadn't heard of that one.
Good stuff, Joey.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Ben in D.C. Ben.
What's up, Ben?
What's up, fellas? I got a question for y'all, man, and I got a comment. Question about Titans real quick. Not really hearing much about NWI. Considering he's supposed to be the number 2, do you think that's a good or a bad thing? You know what I'm saying? Traylon's getting a lot of love, Robert Woods. So is that a good or is that a bad thing? And my comment is, who's worse right now? Aaron Rodgers for that comment about being a lover, or Kyler Murray going through his high school stats?
Nah, yeah, dude, that's first off.
That's good.
That's a great poll question. 43-0 in high school. Is it Uncle Rico or is it the Lizard King?
Yeah. That was good right there.
That's a good one too.
43-0.
Yeah.
Or you've been.
I remember what I told you
lover.
about Kyler and Cliff.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that to open at 9.
That's
by the
a
way.
great question about NWI.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. We can look at it more, but like it's not like you're hearing he's doing poorly.
Yeah,
maybe NWI just kind of is what he is. And
I have a take on that one.
I think what we think he is a 3/4 for most teams. A guy that can help you.
What we think he is easily replaceable when you got a first rounder.
That's right.
NWI is a point that he's always going to have to fight through.
Because you know it better than anybody.
You got to forever fight everybody off. When you're an undrafted guy, low free agent, whatever, he got to forever fight off everybody else. Even Kyle Phillips, to his point, is getting more fanfare. NWI hadn't been bad, but the first rounder and the other draft pick don't always get first dibs.
Yep. We'll talk about it. We can talk more about that to open the fourth. But again, Cliff Kingsbury joking about Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bad year in Arizona. We'll come back and talk about it after the headlines. Jay Martin and Mo on 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool a little bit? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home. It's Ramon Foster, and I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs. And they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. They also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, and we've had some hot days, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com. Who'd ever
Good morning from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Titans training camp continues as the team hits the practice field at 9:30. The Buck Rising Show will be live from St. Thomas Sports Park at 10. Traylon Burks will join Buck at 11:20 right here on The Zone. Earlier today, Titans rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo joined J-Mart and Ramon and shared what it's like being in his first NFL training camp.
It's pretty much different, a lot different from college. College you were in the building from all day long. Now you have a little bit more free time in the NFL, a lot more time to watch film and study stuff on your own, and just try to stay on top of things like that.
Running back Kareem Hunt, who is seeking a contract extension, has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, but the team has denied that so far. Hunt, who is in the final year of a 2-year, $12 million deal, returned to team drills on Sunday. Well, it was almost a 2-hour weather delay, but once they got it started, the man who finished in first was 6-time IndyCar champion Scott Dixon, who won the Music City Grand Prix yesterday. Dixon's second win of the season also moved him to second all-time in IndyCar wins with 53. Mets defeated the Braves 5-2 yesterday. Jacob deGrom struck out 12, carried a perfect game into the sixth inning of his second start of the season. Mets took 4 of 5 from the Braves. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Fourth hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Blessed to bring it to you and to be here, courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. All4seasonsgarages.com. Go there to learn more. I want to talk about Kyler and Cliff, but quickly, Football Outsiders. Our guy Tanier wrote a piece, basically one word to describe training camp so far for all the teams in the league. And some of them are very fun. A lot of them are funny because he's Tanier. But Tennessee Titans training camp vibe. Improving. Things were looking grim for the Titans in minicamp when first-round pick Traylon Burks was sidelined with asthma, and at the start of training camp when A.J. Brown was chirping from Philly about being the only member of the Debo squad to get traded during the summer of receiver paydays. Burks is back now, looking like he's ready to contribute. Robert Woods, still slightly limited, is earning rave reviews for doing Robert Woods things, leadership, extra work, etc. Ryan Tannehill looks sharp. Someone named Racey McMath is emerging as a potential wide receiver 3, and Malik Willis is no longer getting lost in the hallway to the weight room. The Titans are going to be just fine. Whether just fine is good enough is a matter of personal taste.
Wow.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What's that?
Encouraging.
Hey, Jay, I'm starting to get a little excited now. I'm finding a new E word, and I'm a little excited because, like I said, as of late, this is the third year going into this for me. I don't know if there's been many rookie classes that's kind of had this kind of turnover, this type of year. And even, somebody named Racey McMath, as he said that, as a little joke, but even him getting cut, being in the system for an entire year and actually having his name said frequently and not for drops, not for not understanding where he needs to be at on the field, but actually being productive. That says a lot. That also goes into our last caller's comment about NWI too. You're excited about the guys you draft. You always are. I don't care if it's Caleb Farley. I don't care who it is. Dylan Radins is another guy they're excited about. He's a draft pick, and I'm not, undrafted guys versus draft picks, but they always get that preference, especially when that potential of why you drafted them start to come around. NWI being in that position that he was last year, and let's be honest, the most consistent in-game wide receiver they had. AJ was the biggest star. Julio was a big star. But as far as a guy that was always there, it was NWI, and we're talking about him, but not in the same fashion as Racey McMath, Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, because NWI is just there. I'm hoping he can be the number 2, but eventually we know who's going to be number 2 and then number 1.
So looking
Traylon.
at the unofficial depth chart for the Titans as of this morning, Teresa Walker just put this out there. We're kind of looking at it real time because we just saw it, and obviously we're hosting a show, so we haven't seen it. But, Shay, if you tell based on the stuff on the left are your starters, right? On the part of that list, just making sure.
Yeah, it goes left to right.
Because there's some names that are in the middle where you're like, So, looks like, obviously, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina. Traylon Burks is listed behind NWI right now, and Racy right behind them. Then you've got, your Holsters, your Josh Malones, guys like that. Looking at Lawan, Brewer, Jones, Davis, Radens.
Yeah.
Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle for Dylan Radens, which we knew. Petit Frere behind him. Jordan Ruse behind Nate. Corey Levin behind Ben. Jamarco behind Brewer, as we assumed, and Christian DeLauro. And then there's Jalen McKenzie behind those guys.
Play with Christian DeLauro, by the way.
The slash, this is what's interesting. There are slashes next to Brewer and Radens. The slashes mean or.
Yeah.
So it's Radens or Petit Frere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? No, never mind. Forget that I said that. That was going to be a bad line. And Aaron Brewer or Jamarco Jones.
Well, look at that also. It's very interesting at the cornerback position. What does that read?
Caleb Farley / Roger McCreary.
Yep. Shaheem Carter's underneath it as the second, but I guess it is the same way across. Theo Jackson, number 2 on the depth chart. Hey, go Vols, baby.
Behind Amani.
Yeah. Elijah Molden, second team. We know his role is. He's cornerback 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, he's probably a nickel.
Yeah, cornerback 3 or 4, which puts him at the nickel or dime.
So interesting. I definitely think, and you heard Tanier mention it, McMath's name's starting to be mentioned a few times.
Racy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And we heard a little bit of that last week, man, with they spoke about his growth. They spoke about, I heard Coach Mack bring this up as far as him having a hard reality. Like, I got cut. Yeah, they moved up to come get me, but I got cut. Like, it had to be very humbling. And then not to get claimed off waivers, Jay. Everything about him last year, and that's why I say I was a little encouraged and excited now about this class. This class has actually made the right type of headlines when last year it just wasn't that at all.
That's right.
It just, up until the 4th round pick, it just wasn't. And the 4th round pick was Elijah Molden. Up until him, nobody had done much in camp, man. And to have him or this group to actually step up to the plate, and also Race McMath being where he is really cool. You see her asking, where is Racy on the depth chart as far as wide receivers?
Well, he was,
go?
like I said, he was 3rd.
He's 3rd on the
it
chart.
was NWI, then Traylon Burks and Hollister, and then McMath, Malone, Roberson, if I'm looking at it properly here.
Mm-hmm.
And then behind Woods is you've got Phillips and Mason Kinsey, and then Dez and Terry Godwin.
Yep. Good for them.
Logan is 2nd. No shock there. Malik is 3rd. So that's where you're rolling. Chig is 2nd behind Austin Hooper. No shock there either. But you've got Jeff Swaim and Austin Hooper as the starters.
Good for him, man. I'm excited to hear that for him.
So we'll get to see
named Racy McMahon.
Racy up the depth chart.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to talk about this Kyler Murray.
He was on injured reserve last year. Sorry about that. It was. I saw I'll get corrected by that. It was Dez Fitzpatrick. They got cut and come back.
While Kyler was out with COVID, Cliff Kingsbury had him call the plays into the headset to the backup quarterback.
Where was he at?
I guess he was in a booth.
Oh.
He sat out with a sore wrist and he was getting over COVID or whatever. So Kingsbury was doing we had the audio Saturday night, but I can't find it anywhere. I don't know where the audio is, but he was doing, availability afterwards. And they were like, hey, why was Kyler doing that? He says, I just wanted him to know this bleep ain't easy. Every now and then he starts shaking his head when I'm calling it in there, and I'm like, all right, go ahead, big dog.
Why call him big dog?
And then after that, he said he was coaching them up like right until the last second. Like while they're trying to throw, he'd be saying stuff. So I probably won't do that again. He did a good job, but I wouldn't want to play for Kyler Murray if I was a quarterback and he was the coach. And he's laughing and joking. Everybody's like, oh, it was in a jovial fashion. I'm like,
No.
after all that we've heard about Kyler, that whole deal about this bleep ain't easy backs up the study thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it back up the I'm just good enough that I don't have to do the extra work?
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what do they say? Comedies or tragedies? It's pretty much Cliff Kingsbury just laughing it off as if, look, you need to take this serious, and I can't deal with this anymore. He made Kyler call plays just to challenge him. That says something about your quarterback, man, just to let him know this ain't easy. And Kyler probably does get the call in his ears and be like shaking his head. That's coaches see everything. But it's still wild to me that they paid him. They have the same agent, and now you're stuck with him for at least 3 years. Arizona.
Maybe Kingsbury was joking, but that's not the guy you joke about right now with everything else that's been surrounding him over the last few weeks.
He's not in a good spot.
It's not going to be a great year in Arizona.
No. As strong as the AFC West was last year, at least at the beginning part of the season, I think you're only getting a couple teams out of it right now. I think the Rams, depending on what Stafford's elbow looks like.
And then obviously, what is Trey Lance?
And what is Trey Lance? And also with the debacle they're having right now with finding a home for Jimmy G. Is he actually still going to be on roster? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm lost on that one.
Training camp vibe for the Steelers from Tanier. The word is baffled.
As far as what?
Everyone's gaga over George Pickens.
Yeah.
Deontay managed to hold in without all of the state turning against him, which is rare. But Steelers observers have no idea how to handle the fact their quarterbacks stink. Roethlisberger stunk in 21 and much of 20. But Steelers fans were in denial until the end and certainly didn't worry about Big Ben in August. Now no one knows where to set their expectations. Expect fans, observers, tastemakers to choose their champion after the preseason game against the Seahawks. The Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph or the ghost of Neil O'Donnell gives the Steelers the best chance to win right now. Headlines have already been written.
Yikes. Hey, it sounds like cheeks on the year. I don't know what to tell them. Hey, we'll see what it looks like more than anything. Good luck.
But yeah, again,
why I retired, Jay.
Encouraging things. By the way, Indianapolis Colts training camp vibe. Jubilant! Exclamation point.
Who? Colts?
Colts.
Oh, wow.
Matt Ryan cusses at teammates. He pumps up the training camp crowd. He runs suicides. He throws on the move. The glory days of Phillip Rivers are back from 2020. Wildcard berth in 26-13, first-round loss to the Ravens. Here we come. As noted a little bit too frequently in past walkthroughs, trading Carson Wentz is like getting over a bout of Lyme's disease or having a parasite purge from your digestive tract. Colors are just more vibrant for Colts fans right now. Let them have this. Just like, we don't have Carson Wentz.
But there's some people that are ready to trash Matt Ryan, though.
Those people are wrong.
This is Titans versus Colts is going to be a very interesting AFC South race because they've had so many on the list, the season of lists. They've had so many top 5 positions as far as the O-line, as far as the defense, as far as certain players. It's going to be good. It's going to be real good.
It's going to be fun. It is. Two teams that do a lot of similar things. And again, I just think it comes down to which one answers the what-if questions better. And both of them have decent reviews from a snark master in Mike Tanier.
Yeah.
Jubilant because there's no Carson Wentz, and things are better than maybe you thought they were going to be from Titans camp with some of the rookies, including Chig Okonkwo, who he had at the end of the second hour. If you missed that, go back and podcast it wherever you get your podcasts. So as we get to it, and I know we could ask this question Thursday, who's the one guy your eyes are going to be all over on Thursday night for the Titans watching this preseason game? Somebody asked, by the way, in the chat just now, how likely it is that Logan Woodside's still going to be QB2. I'd say high, almost, I wouldn't say 100 because nothing's 100, but I'd say 95.
Unless you're trading for a guy after camp.
But in terms of Malik taking that gig, I don't see it.
Not
this year.
Not early on. Absolutely not. I'll stand by it if I'm wrong.
Look, that team is completely fine with Logan Woodside.
Yeah, they are.
In terms of management.
Yeah,
they're fine.
Yeah.
Fans might not be.
Yeah.
Media might not be. They're fine.
Which is why you can't run a team like a fan.
Yeah.
Meaning everybody wants Malik. Malik, no, don't do it.
You
to
don't want him
yourselves.
yet because you don't want to kill this kid's confidence and everything else.
He's
Just not ready yet.
He just ain't ready.
Not even close. And there's no reason to throw him out there for that. Watch him on Thursday and try not to get excited when he throws one great ball. I know it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But I want to see him. I imagine that's the answer. Most people are going to say they want to see him.
I just want to see him. Yep.
615-737-1045. Which Titan has your eyeballs most on Thursday night? Who can't you wait to see? We'll be back. It's Jay Martin and Ramon 1045 The Zone. Pai Medical, giving help to thousands of men and women when it comes to hair loss. They're experts at what they do. There is absolutely nobody better. PAI, if this is something that's been bothering you, if it affected your confidence, if you're just not walking around with that bounce that you used to, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you've seen some old photos, and you realize, yeah, you know what, it actually is thinning. I wasn't sure. And this is actually bothering me. Is there something that can be done about this that's natural, that's real? The answer is yes, there is. Surgical procedures they've got, but they've also got the most advanced non-surgical options anywhere in the country. The key is attacking it quickly because it is something that progresses. It doesn't just stop. It continues on and on. The longer it goes, the harder it is to bring it back to the place where you actually want it to. So PAI, who's been doing this for over a quarter of a century, they've got affordable payment plans that fit anyone's budget. There's nobody better at it. They are some of the best people you will meet, and they care about what you care about. They care about getting your hair back to where it is so you don't have to worry about it anymore. 615-376-6010. I want you to call them today. 376-6010. Talk to Michael Ramsey and his staff. Get their opinion. Or go online, wegrowhair.com. That's wegrowhair.com. Welcome back. J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 Zone, lifted up by all Four Seasons garage doors in Nashville. Here's something that everybody was looking for. NFL has requested, according to Kevin Seifert at ESPN this morning, on-field officials to focus on illegal contact fouls during this season because there weren't enough last year. And it's a 5-yard penalty, results in an automatic first down, prohibited contact by a defender when the quarterback still has the ball, remains in the pocket. Flagged it 97 times a season between 2002 and 2020, dropped to 36 last year.
Yeah.
So it's a point of clarification. So, again, it's not fun to play defense in 2022 because it's just going to give more space to wide receivers.
Well, maybe they should do better at their jobs then, Jason, as a pro offensive guy. I choose a little violence. That's all.
Not really an athlete.
Hey. Pipe down a little bit. What's up, William?
Yeah, Will Boling with us. Will, what's up?
Hello, friends. How are we doing this morning?
We're doing all right. Illegal contact fouls, and Moan over here trying not to get illegal contact called against him at the present. So what is up in the world of bowling right now?
Niche sports season is coming to an end. Sports that other people care about, other than me and Lucas and anyone else that's in their 20s in Nashville, is slowly ending. Had soccer, had a Grand Prix. Excuse me. There's no Grand in Grand Prix. Ready for some football. Ready for the first preseason game week. We're doing good. Vibes are great.
So how do you feel about camp? We were reading from Mike Tenier, walkthrough, and he's a snark guy, but he basically was saying, look, it's kind of uplifting. And the word I keep saying about everything that we hear and everything that we see is it's encouraging. That's the way to stay measured about feeling positive about what you're getting at camp, especially from the guys that we haven't gotten to see yet.
Yeah, here's what I want to know, guys. The rookie class is making a much bigger impact this early in camp than they have in the past 2 seasons, right? It's the first rookie class to come in without COVID restrictions, without Zoom meetings and personnel meetings and things of that nature. But these things don't happen in a vacuum. Is it the Titans rookie class that's particularly strong this year, or are rookies across the league going to be more easily implemented into schemes and into their squads in the first couple of weeks because that it's an actual offseason and they're not just virtually going through these processes? So I think that's the thing I'm really most interested to see this week is, can Roger McCreary, can Kyle Phillips, can Chig Okonkwo carry the momentum they've had in individual periods and starting to have with the ones in team periods into Baltimore on Thursday against the Ravens? I think that's the story of camp so far. What McCreary has done, playing himself into a starting role. He's listed on the first depth chart this morning that the Titans released right behind Caleb Farley on the outside of that defensive secondary, which I thought was noteworthy. And really the end of last week, the story was Kyle Phillips taking the good he was doing in one-on-ones into team periods with the ones, which was something that he was not able to do over that first week of practice as he got acclimated. So far the rookies certainly the headline of this camp.
And that's why I want to go with a little bit, Will, is the impact that these young guys are having so far. Like I didn't expect this type of push from them considering what the last 2 drafts have kind of looked like as far as impact in camp. But these guys are actually pretty serious about what they're doing. They're actually official, and it's not a bunch of fluff around these guys, right?
No, there's really not. And I think the second that we stopped talking about whether or not Treylon Burks was in shape or not, we quickly learned that he's doing a really good job implementing himself into this offense and becoming a key target for Ryan Tannehill really quickly. I think it's easy for us to forget that A.J. Brown's rookie year in 2019, he had issues at this point of camp. A.J. Brown was a non-factor at this point in his first camp in 2019. So Treylon Burks, in that comparison that we're all unfairly going to make over these first couple of weeks and probably through his career in a two-tone blue uniform, is already a little ahead of the curve of where rookie wide receivers have been at this point under Mike Vrabel and under John Robinson. So it is really interesting, Ramon, that you mentioned that. I think last week was a really good week for Nicholas Petit-Frere as well.
Yep.
You know, talking about the big guys that you're watching every time that you're out here. You know, I think that the versatility and the ability for Petit-Frere to do a job at right tackle. Long term, we think he's going to do a job at left tackle for this team, the way the contract situations kind of shape up. I think you can still have a situation where Dylan Radins is a break glass in case of emergency left guard for you. if Nicholas Petit-Frere can be a right tackle for you this season. So is this a Nate Davis situation where by week 4 or 5 it was that Jacksonville game for him when he first got into that lineup? It was bad for him at first. He figured it out, learned to be a pretty good part of this Tennessee Titans offensive line. Is Petit-Frere in that mindset, or is he more of a Dylan Radins, hey, year 2 is going to be kind of your year to really take the reins on this thing? I was a little bit surprised. I think he was one of the bright spots at camp last week in his ability to really get in there with the ones and look pretty good. So I think you're right. The fluff is a good way to put it. You know, these guys are not being slowly brought along like we've seen so many players, unfortunately be slowly brought along as rookies over the past few seasons.
We had a good question asked about NWI before we move on from that. Asked at the end of last hour about how we're not hearing a lot about NWI. And the question was, is that a good or a bad thing? I wasn't sure how to answer it other than to say, well, I mean, he's not doing anything wrong. What are you seeing, or what is being said about NWI? Are there just other guys making more news, guys that are, that we don't know as much about? We kind of know what NWI is. What would you say there?
He's just one of the most consistent targets that Ryan Tannehill has out here. I mean, that's where I would go with it, is that you don't really see that guy make any bad plays. You're not really seeing him make any drops. There's no miscommunication with Ryan Tannehill. Even with Racey McMath, right? That's the guy that was the story of last week. If you're talking about one individual player. Yeah, the plays are really good over the top, and then he'll disappear. He won't make a play occasionally where, he had a deep bomb on Christian Fulton last week about 40 yards, and it hit him in the hands and wasn't able to make the play, but he still put himself in a good position, right? Nick Westbrook-Akina is not making that big wow play, but he's not dropping any passes. Traylon Burks had one of his first drops last week on Friday, had a really nice play over the middle he could have made, beat Caleb Farley by a step, just wasn't able to haul it in, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing to not be talked about at this point. And I think as well, when you talk about carrying a third quarterback onto this roster into the season out of preseason, the discussion is going to be between Racey McMath, Josh Malone, some of the other guys on this team, Des Fitzpatrick, I would put. I think those 3 guys are probably battling for one spot on this roster out of camp. And it's because you're going to have somebody do an extra job. Somebody's either going to have to be a kick returner, a punt returner. Racey McMath obviously puts himself in a really good situation because of what he can do as a defender in the special teams game. So I think we've honestly just penciled in Nick Westbrook-Akina as a wide receiver, as a guy that doesn't have to do that extra job. And now it's kind of between those last 3 or 4 guys and see what they can do in special teams in order to put themselves behind NWI as that last wide receiver on this team.
The depth chart, as far as young guys, again, man, looking at Theo Jackson, I'm all vol when it comes down to that. But him being second right now behind Amani Hooker, what has he been able to do in camp from what you've seen from him so far?
I think Theo Jackson becomes this team's Dane Cruikshank this year. I think as much as the Titans go to that big nickel look with a third safety on third downs in the way that Shane Bowen likes to match up like that, Dean Pease liked to do it too when he was here calling these defenses as well. It makes a lot of sense for that role to be really specific for Theo Jackson. It's you're blitzing the quarterback and you're covering somebody's tight end.
Yeah.
That's really it for you right now. Being a special teams guy, that's going to be important as well. But his pursuit of the ball, Ramon, was so good last year. His pursuit of the quarterback. He was see ball, hit ball at all times, anytime he had an opportunity to do so. And I think he benefited from a similar role under Tim Banks last year at Tennessee. It was really simple. Right? I mean, Tennessee talked about that a lot last year. They talked about how they called their defense was, we want to simplify things, we want to fly to the football. I think Theo Jackson can use that to his advantage and have a really carved-out specific third down kind of gadget role as a defender on this team. I think he's making this team for that reason. Where that gets interesting, though, guys, is that I think many kind of penciled Roger McCreary into that role and had Elijah Molden as this team's out-and-out nickel in base sets. Roger McCreary's playing his way onto the field maybe as an outside corner at this point.
Wow.
So that's the interesting part of the discussion is that McCreary is going to get playing time as well as he's playing, and I think he's overperformed a lot of expectations on the outside. But I think on the inside, they expected this. You heard Mike Keith say it last week with you guys, and Rhett Bryan said it with you guys, and has talked to all of us about this in the building and on the air, both saying that I think the Titans might have taken Roger McCreary at 26 if they had stayed put at 26 with how much they liked him in the first round.
So us talking about this young secondary and Roger McCreary and just Theo Jackson, a bunch of other guys that are, in this group. Well, this comes as no shock then as to why Buster Skrine decided to retire. You kind of take this from the way these guys are performing, right?
I think it makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think it absolutely makes sense. And a lot of us saw that news on the first day of camp, kind of like, all right, this is not great. And you certainly feel a little bit more calm about it, given the way that Roger McCreary has played so far. Plus, I mean, when those guys hit the rookie wall, so to speak, you still have the ability to bring in guys like that later on in the season in order to make an impact. And Buster Skrine was sitting on the street for this team halfway through the season a year ago. So those guys are still going to be out there if you need to once again break glass in case of emergency and make a move like that. But I think it certainly makes sense, Ramon, that you probably saw the writing on the wall and said, hey, these rookies are good. Yep. I know they hadn't gotten really out on the field officially at that point yet, just really had that first data report before we were out here. But I think it certainly adds up.
Well, this is, other than hearing the horns in the background, love that, okay? But there's one guy in particular.
That's Buck Rising.
Yeah, Buck with the horns.
No, I just hear his voice in the background.
It's not close to 10 o'clock yet, so I don't know. I'm not going to believe that Buck is actually here.
Well, there's one guy that had a huge breaking news that we've heard almost zero about this year in camp so far, and that's Harold Landry. Where is he? What has he done? Are they just putting him on the shelf till it gets closer to the season? What have you seen from Harold?
Not much, honestly. And it's certainly different from when he was in the contract limbo that Jeffrey Simmons kind of finds himself in a little bit now. But honestly, I mean, he is finally, I don't know what age specifically Mike Vrabel starts to treat these guys like veterans and starts to give them the maintenance days and kind of ease them along. But I guess he's reached the superstar status enough, right, to not have to really go full out in team periods and not always have to be out there. And I think Mike Vrabel certainly is a little bit more forward thinking on that, as we know, as we've kind of gotten used to. But honestly, another guy that we would have been talking a lot about this time last year, coming off of the 2020 the Titans defense had, that you and I about had as many sacks on the quarterback as they did as a position group. But this time around, that's one of the constants you can kind of count on for this team, and it's not really something that you pay attention to out here at camp of what he's doing.
How far are we away from your observation from really needing to talk about Malik Willis at all? Like, we know how far behind he was in terms of what he played in college, what he was asked to do. We've heard he's done some good things. He's done some bad things, all of this. Obviously, eyes are going to be on whatever he's able to do on Thursday. But how far are we away from actually having that conversation?
I think it's probably through the first two preseason games. Maybe even just the end of preseason, right? Because he's going to learn a lot more in those games against a different team and in full speed. Because right now, he's starting to get more time with the twos. Logan Woodside was the straightaway backup quarterback for that first week. All right, last week it starts to transition a little bit more to, all right, let's give Malik about 10 snaps in a row instead of 3. At the end of every period. And I want to see Malik Willis continue to make steps forward within 7-on-7 and within those red zone periods, because the team periods, it's going to take a year, guys. I mean, Ramon, as you know, like it is going to take a really long time for that guy to slow down and start to process what he's seeing, because right now it is, if my first target is not open, I'm running.
Yeah.
And that is it. That is the entire progression for Malik Willis at this point. You're starting to see that get a little bit better in 7-on-7. Not much, but just a little bit better. And to be fair to kind of the defense and to the process as well, half of the good throws he is making, it sounds harsh, but half the good throws he's making at 7-on-7 are going to be sacks in team periods. The guy is absolutely swimming right now. He's making really good throws in individual periods and one-on-ones. He's hitting targets. You can see the touch. You can also see the fastball. He's got all the throws. This is not a Joe Milton situation out here where he's throwing it into Lake Amulet when he's trying to go deep to a target on one-on-ones. He can make all of the throws. He just has no idea where he's going with the football right now and no idea what the defense is doing until he's, a second or two too late and should already have released the ball. So I'm giving it till the end of preseason before I'm really making any kind of judgment of, okay, this needs to get a whole lot better.
You get a chance to see the 101s from the O-line, D-line, man. A guy that I bragged on as far as the way it looked like he's transformed is Dylan Radins.
Yeah.
What are you continually seeing from that side of him as he continues to battle in camp against this D-line?
He looks like an NFL right tackle.
He does.
That's the best thing I can say about him right now, right? It doesn't seem like a guy that you're having to really look at under a magnifying glass and pay a ton of attention to because he just looks good. There's no problems over there, right? The problems for me continue to be in the interior at left guard that I think this team is going to have to address at some point, and maybe by putting Dylan Radins over there about halfway through this season. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility at this point, but he looks fit, he looks in shape, he looks stronger, looks confident. There's really no big issues on that side of the evaluation process for me when Ryan Tannehill is throwing an 11 on 11 or when the Titans are trying to run the football. All the issues are coming in the interior. So I think that's the best thing I can say about him so far in those red zone periods. He looks good. Ryan Tannehill's upright. He's protected. And I think that guy is playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Who are you most interested to watch Thursday, Will?
I think the easy answer is Malik Willis because I want to see how his struggles or his successes over the last week translate to the field against a different team. Outside of that, I think it's Kyle Phillips. I think Kyle Phillips came on really strong last week. I think it's Kyle Phillips and Racey McMath are probably the two answers of can those guys continue to do against another team what they did last week. I think there's a spot on this team for Racey McMath to be the deep target over the top of the defense. It's funny, this is the only time that Racey McMath and Khalif Raymond will probably ever be compared because one of them is about 6'3", 220, and the other one was, a little bit smaller in stature, to say the least. But the way that Khalif Raymond came on the field in 2020, and all of us were looking around saying, all right, play action deep bomb, or it's, all right, they're going to run it up the middle and they're going to bluff the deep bomb over the middle to Khalif Raymond. I almost think Racey McMath could have a spot on this team doing that. So for me, in the intermediate passing game, I want to see what Kyle Phillips can do against DBs that haven't seen him as much in practice. And for Racey McMath, I want to see if he can beat DBs deep because I think that the Titans are certainly going to try to put him in that situation.
So I don't think anybody this is ever really going to happen on a mass scale, Will, but you're the one person I know I can talk to about this. Do you believe that Better Call Saul is a more complete and cohesive show than Breaking Bad as we get down to the last 2 weeks of it? Because I have increasingly believed that it's the better product. It's the better program because they fixed some of the weaknesses of the early seasons of Breaking Bad, and it's just a more polished show. I
agree, and you caught me on a good day to talk about this too because I actually got caught up on the most recent episode last night. I think it was a slower burn, and the payoff has been better on the back end.
Agreed.
Because it wasn't just entertainment value, guns, cartel, crazy stuff going on. It wasn't just that. Kind of like Breaking Bad was for those first couple of seasons, just like, holy crap, shootout and this and that. And like it was more smartly built from those opening seasons. And it's created more nuances within the characters, and then you get the Kim reveal, so to speak. I won't ruin it for everybody, but I'll just say that at the end of the most recent episode about her status and, the black and white. I mean, Breaking Bad, people forget, too, stuck the landing better than any show has, I think, in the past 5 years of shows that have been this good. And Ozark, people are kind of divided on that, and Game of Thrones, nobody's divided on how much that sucked at the end. And Vince Gilligan has stuck the landing so well, and this time it's almost like he's flexing on us of just like, hey, I can go back and forth between black and white and color, and I'm still going to stick this landing. Like I'm still going to do this in a way you've never seen it done before. So I love it. I think the payoff has been tremendous this season. I am all in. I think overall, I think you're probably right. It is a more complete show, even though I don't know if I'm going to rank it ahead of Breaking Bad of just entertainment value, partly because it's not the original for me. I think it's more complete. It's a running back that's going to play all three downs instead of just the one that's going to, get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving.
So this comparison won't work for you probably because of your youth, but I've heard this said a few times, and I 1,000,000% agree. Better Call Saul is to Breaking Bad what Frasier was to Cheers. Frasier's the greatest spinoff maybe in television history. It won all kinds of awards and all of this stuff. many people believe it's the superior show, even though Cheers was legacy and it created all these careers and it was a tremendous product in its own right. I think the same could be true for Saul. Saul is as good as it. There's no reason for this sequel or this prequel to have been as good as it is, and we've been privileged enough to have it. It's kind of shocking.
I feel like we're in a really good age of like a good couple months of television right now. I thought Ozark was great in the last season, but obviously between this and Stranger Things, it's been a pretty good summer for TV shows that I love, and I think that a lot of you people out there listening love too. But it's been terrific. I'm interested to see what House of Dragon looks like on HBO coming up.
20th, isn't
it? Yeah, it is, and in the way that they kind of spin off and take a different spin on that story, and how much George R.R. Martin has been involved in that, I think remains to be seen of how they do the same thing. But Better Call Saul became a must-watch really, really quickly. The season when they bring in Ziegler and they do the the building the lab and all these things. That's kind of when it went from good to great for me, and kind of took off as like a transcendent, like, holy crap. Like I've got a notes page on my phone, guys, that has 40 shows that are ranked 1 through 40. And if you make the list, you're really good. And Better Call Saul's moved up into my top 5, I think. At least the top 7.
A living
in the past couple
list.
weeks.
Yeah,
literally.
I had to write lists and all that kind of stuff for a long time. Breaking Bad was number 2 on my list, and I said, look, Lost is my favorite show of all time, but Breaking Bad is the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Saul might be better. Like they're right there, A1, A2. I'll take the one that you don't take, but my gosh, do I love that show.
It's definitely in the conversation. I actually have 24 as my other untouchable.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Another show that I love just because it's so unique and nobody's ever done anything like it. Even though I know it's overacted and cheesy, I don't care. It's a great show. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Better Call Saul is going in my untouchable, like, tier 1 of TV shows with that first 3 or 4.
I'm caught up on it except for this latest season. So
yeah, you got to get to it, man.
I finished 5 last week.
Yeah. So good.
All right. Well,
also,
we're over.
Glad to hear you're sounding a whole lot better than Lucas today. Okay,
yeah, Lucas is struggling, man.
No, he's not struggling. Lucas is doing good. I'm doing good.
Struggling, okay, not even struggling. He's struggling. He can't even spell his words right. That's where he is right now.
I pounded a Red Bull right before the race yesterday, before the Grand Prix, which was tremendous. Drank a liquid IV before I went to bed. We're feeling good. That was just for being out in the heat as much as I was. Honestly, vibes are good.
All right, Will, appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's Will Boling. By the way, new host of Titans Talkback with Kevin Dyson.
Hey, now.
This coming season is Will Boling. So
Will
very
the Bully.
excited for that. That show's got a rich history. That'll be the way that you go home from Nissan Stadium after all those dubs.
Absolutely. Let's get it, Will. Congrats, my brother.
Yeah, he'll be the first one that you can talk to after games, and we'll be the first show the next day to talk to after all of these games. We'll be back to finish up said show here. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Finishing up, this will be brief, obviously. We kept Will a little long. Tomorrow, we'll look at this piece I just saw David Hale wrote at ESPN. Position U in college football. Which schools produce the most talent at each position? So there's QBU, wide receiver U. We talk about that amongst time. So we'll be able to look at that and see where some of the schools are. I agree with most of this, looking through it.
Position U.
Wide
LSU still
receiver
DBU?
Wide receiver U. We can give you one little primer. Wide receiver U is USC. LSU is number 2.
I thought Alabama.
Alabama's 3.
I was about to say, heck, amount of talent they've put out as of late.
I mean, USC's put out, I guess, what? Drake London, Amara St. Brown, Michael Pittman, Jordan Addison now.
Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense.
But yes, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, Bama would have to be top 3, but they are. You said DBU. Find that
LSU?
one real quick on the way out. They would have to be close, right?
Or
Ohio State. LSU's number 2.
Washington State up there?
No.
What are who's 3? I love to know 3 just to
3 is Bama.
All right then. Okay.
Rebuilding year.
Yeah, all right, Nick. Whew.
All right.
Okay.
Buck Rising coming up next. A reminder, Traylon Burks with him at 11:20. We had Chig Okonkwo back in hour 2. If you missed that, podcast this wherever you get your podcast.
Football
Tomorrow we'll
week.
have Slay. More preview of preseason game number 1. Hopefully no updates on injuries throughout the league today as everybody's out at camp. Stick around for Buck and the remainder of the day. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.
And remember, Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
I forgot to tell you about how I made her cry.
Oh,
Guess
save
I'll
it.
have to do it tomorrow. I sang. She thought I was yelling. She cried. More on it tomorrow.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.